The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football? Yeah!
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
Chosen breed, you don't see too many like me, cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets, come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Joxx here, KTC broadcasting live from Cherryville, North Carolina. I clicked the wrong one. I got to get the one in here that's got... Where's the 3 shot? There it is. There we go. Now I got it. Those of you listening on the podcast land are wondering, what is he talking about? What do you mean, what is he clicking? What did he click wrong? But we got a 3 shot here for those of you that are watching us live on Facebook. Zac Mayhue's in the house with us. Kevin Hastings Hunter Yancey here, and we've got sports, and more sports to bring to you, and we can technically call this one a Thanksgiving special because Thanksgiving is tomorrow. What'd you just say? You can't? Well, yeah, I don't think I have you turned on.
You're good. You're good. It was all the way down.
Yeah, you're good. We can hear you now. But yes, this can be considered a Thanksgiving special, so we can go ahead and anybody that listens tomorrow, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. We can name turkeys of the year. If
How
we
many
want to.
how many legged turkey they used to have on Thanksgiving for the football game? You remember?
How many
was
what?
it a 3-legged turkey they used to give out?
8-legged.
Was
or
it
4-legged?
8-legged?
Or something.
We should have done
like
a turkey in here that had 3 legs.
Madden would bring out like a 4-legged turkey.
Yeah, I know. Well, because they would eat it, and
they would give out the
whoever
legs
the
for-
winner
yeah.
is would be able to eat it. And I'm like,
But
dang, they're making the other team starve.
But again, Zach, you're a meat manager. Y'all get a lot of 4-legged turkeys?
No,
That's what I'm like. Where do you get that?
It's
You have to grow that, don't you?
biologically.
Or is that just an accident?
we had we
I
actually
have
sold
so many questions.
we had sold more turkeys than we ever have this year. We've never really run out of turkeys before Thanksgiving. Like we've had a couple left over on Thanksgiving Day. On Monday we were out of turkeys. So our boss come in yesterday and she was asking, "Are y'all out of turkeys?" And my boss said, "You ever been to Build-A-Bear?" He's like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, we're doing Build-A-Turkey." He said, "We got the necks, the wings, the drums." He said, "You can just get all the parts and make your own."
Yeah.
But it's been a good turkey selling year.
Well, we got all kinds of things to talk about today. I've got a long list here. We've got
Well, that's because, Zach, regardless of what the government's trying to tell you, people are still going to gather for Thanksgiving.
You think so, huh?
After a while, people get sick and tired of you telling them that they can and
Zach, I
cannot
liked your
see
post,
family.
One of your posts down Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Permission slip was the
the
Was the
Constitution.
permission slip? Yeah, I saw that yesterday. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Here's what we got to talk about today, guys. We've got NFL kind of rankings. I'm just going to touch on that because we finished that up on Saturday. But Hall of Fame vote. Hunter, I just looked it up. Zach, Herman Moore had 123 catches and 95.
Yeah, that's
was the
ridiculous.
record. It's been broke 6 times.
I didn't know he had the record. That's surprising. I knew he was a good
Well,
wide
you know
receiver.
what? That
I
does
100%
not
remember him.
Now that
breaking
does not
record.
surprise me though.
Because it was
shouldn't
Art
sur-
Monks, I bet.
It shouldn't surprise anybody though. It's been broken so many times
Chris
because
Carter.
it's become such a passing league now. So
Carter-
if you're the number one
Yeah.
guy, I mean that's not surprising.
So before that, Zach, it was, geez.
That was a lot back
G.
in
Lewis.
that year.
I'm trying to find I mean, it's been beat by
But
so
what
many
is it
guys.
now? Michael Thomas is like 140 something?
Yeah, it's insane. So Jerry Rice at 112. I'm not seeing anything past Isaac Bruce. And so 95, everybody beat Rice's record. Bruce had 119. Chris Carter had 122. And Herman Moore had 123. Chris Carter had back-to-back 122 seasons in 94 and 95.
Which, is a different style of football. So it's
He
impressive.
basically set the record back-to-back seasons, except Moore beating by one catch. Wes Welker tied Moore at 123.
I was going
to
to say, Wes Welker was perennially in the 115s.
Michael Thomas is 6th in 2018. Antonio Brown 5th. Julio and Antonio are tied for 3rd at 136. They both had that in 2015, same year. Marvin Harrison was 143 in 2002. And then Thomas, 149 catches last year. That's just
Insane.
I mean, the record for since '95, Zach, he beat that by 26 catches.
But it's very similar. Even with basketball, the way they've changed up philosophy, and even baseball, we talked about philosophy. So it's just a different game. The running stats aren't near what they were back in the '90s.
Yep. We'll talk. We're going to talk. We've got Tyson Jones this weekend. We've got Hall of Fame ballots, baseball and football. We've got college football news and notes. North Carolina preps put out their realignments. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We've got maybe some NASCAR and a little bit more. But we've got a packed show today. We're going to start in the NFL since we're already there. So, Hunter, what I've got here, I rearranged stuff, so it's going to take me a minute to find some stuff. Here's your 25 modern era player semifinalist.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Gold tonight's first year. Gold is first year eligible. So, we're going to take some names from you guys and see what you guys want to.
Now, how many do they get a certain number? Is there a certain? There's not a number, or do we know?
There's a certain number.
I think is it like baseball? You just have to hit a certain percentage?
Right. I think so.
Is
There's
it?
something like that.
Because then you could have like baseball and only have like 3 people who go in.
Figure that out.
Out of
we
like
can go off of that
50.
because there's got to be there might not be. But.
I think we can all sit here and agree though that Manning will be first ballot.
Yes.
Out of
And I think
everybody
Charles
that's
Woodson,
there.
we
I
talked
think
about
I think
Manning
Charles
and
Woodson will too. Calvin to me is fringe.
I think Calvin gets
I think he gets close.
left off because, I mean, we all know what T.O. had to go through on this. He didn't get on the first ballot.
Yeah, but you could argue a lot of it was more the media personal.
Personality,
It was personal.
It
They
was.
just really didn't like Terrell Owens. Everybody liked Megatron.
But the precedent, I mean, who's Jerry Rice got on first ballot and Randy Moss? That's the only two.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Irvin had to wait.
Yeah, and look, to me, I said Calvin would be. I said he'd
And
be
I don't
fringe.
think Michael should have to wait.
He would be fringe because you would just have to look and say, is he more deserving of it than the other wide receivers that are on the list? I don't think he is over Hines Ward. I think Hines Ward is highly underrated as a wide receiver. He's got Super Bowls to his name too.
80%
Same as Torrey Holt.
80% is what it takes.
Yeah, and it just don't matter. Like I'm not seeing anything on ballots like restrictions. Like, well, let's just say let's take 5 and go from there. So we're gonna do 5 on our list that we'll say may deserve it. Here's the list for you listeners out there: Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Willie Anderson, Rondé Barber, Cornelius Bennett, Tony Baselli,
Look at Rondé.
Leroy Butler, Alan Faneca, Rodney Harrison, Torrey Holt, Calvin Johnson, John Lynch, Peyton Manning, Clay Matthews, Sam Mills, Richard Seymour, Steve Tasker, Fred Taylor, Zach Thomas, Hines Ward, Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis, Charles Woodson, Darren Woodson, and Bryant Young.
Huh.
What are you thinking there, Hunter?
I'm just trying to think. Who I would
Patrick
even,
Willis. Did Patrick Willis not come out at the same time that Luke did? Or no? Is that a different?
I didn't. Yeah, I said Patrick Willis.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing him
You're
on the
talking about,
thing.
yeah, that's Patrick Willis from San Francisco.
That's what I thought.
No, I think it was.
It's been 5 years since he retired. Obviously, you had to have 5 years.
Yeah, so I was really surprised he's on the list because him and Luke was always
Patrick
up there.
Willis has a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's really good.
Because he played with or no, he doesn't. He just made a Super Bowl appearance. Sorry,
They lost with
they lost to
Kaepernick
the
against the Ravens.
Well, because it was him, and who was the other linebacker that was right next to him? Bowman? Was
might
that the
have been.
one that was right next to him?
Romanowski.
No.
He was a beast.
Yeah, he's
Roy
roided up.
Beast.
Hunter, they NFL.com's got them listed in order of what they think. So you want me to kind of give you those?
Who does?
NFL.com.
Okay.
Peyton is one.
Yeah, that's what I've got as one.
yeah.
Your boy Calvin is two.
Okay.
3 is Charles Woodson. 4 is Patrick Willis. 5, Jared Allen. 6, Steve Tasker. 7, Alan Faneca, Zach Thomas, Sam Mills, Reggie Wayne. This is different people. Darren Woodson at 13, Leroy Butler.
It was Bowman. It was Navarro Bowman that was right next to him.
So I'm going to pull up the list for our viewers.
I do have a question, though, because of that. When did Patrick Willis come out?
Type it in your
That's
magic
what,
Google
that's
machine.
what I'm doing.
All right, Zach. Give me. Let's do this. We all agree, Peyton.
Yeah. I think we probably all agree on Charles Woodson.
Yes, I agree on
Kevin,
Charles.
are you E?
I ain't got anything against Charles Wilson.
I mean, first ballot.
Let me look at everybody's name.
Yeah, Patrick Willis retired in 2015. He was drafted in 2007.
So
it's been
some of the problems you have with this is I like to look by position and be like, like kind of like not like kind of like what they did with the closers or whatever. But if you're the best closer, that was the argument. That's fine. That's a good argument. Whether you get 100% of the vote, that's a different argument. But if you're the best at whatever your position or one of the best at your position,
You should get in.
You should get in.
Okay.
So
I agree with that.
So looking at this list,
So we're saying, based on that, we're going to put the best wide receiver in, and maybe the rest of them don't get in.
well, here's how that works a lot of times. The voters, wide receivers and defensive backs especially. So what they'll do is they'll look at this list and be like, well, Torrey Holt's been on this list for a while. I'm going to vote for him instead of Calvin.
Yeah, and that's what I did on mine.
And a lot of people will do that. Same thing with Hines Ward on that list.
Did the same thing.
So people will do that. I'm not saying that's what you're supposed to do or you should. But
yeah, but
people will do that.
does the ballot limit how many people you can vote for? Or can you just write as many names as you want on there?
I think I've seen them have 6 or 7 in because a lot of times people ain't watching it, but some of the old coaches or some of the old players get
Right.
in and they don't watch the speeches. So
Because it's just one of those things I'm looking at it is if the criteria.
5.
Okay, so they get
but
5.
they got to get so many percentage of the vote,
5,
you said,
and
right?
they have to get 80% of the voters
so they can only
to
have 5.
agree on
It
that.
says after the 5 remaining candidates for our vote, after it's now down to 5, then they're voted on individually, yes or no for membership.
Okay.
Okay,
says
so
if
they
ain't
got
gonna get a
they're
no
just
on
going to
that.
whittle it down to 5.
It reduces down to 15 and then to 10 and then to 5.
So what number are we at right now? 25?
We're at 25 right now.
Okay.
Right. So
the next will be 15.
Right. So let's we said Peyton. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, is there anybody on that list who's a surefire? You need to put him in the Hall of Fame. I'll write him down right now.
I already said Charles Woodson.
I agree.
Charles Woodson. All right, Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have one that's a Hall of
Going,
Fame?
I know exactly where he's going with it. I bet you. Who I'm circling.
Hines Ward.
That's exactly who I had circled. That's exactly who I had circled. I just circled it.
I was not expecting either one of y'all to say that.
It's either Hines Ward or Torrey Holt.
And
I think
I'm
Torrey's
saying-
better than Hines
I
Ward.
do too.
I think they both
but I've
got Super Bowls.
I've got them both on my paper.
They both got Super Bowls. But
And
if
I
you
put
look,
them in
if you
over
look at
Calvin.
them side by side, and that's what they have on Calvin. I know this is his first year, but Calvin's got stats. But they've got Torrey Holt and Hines has got rings.
I've got
but
both of
that's
those.
more of a product of where you were. If Calvin doesn't retire and ends up going that next year to New England, I would say he has a ring. But
Okay.
that didn't happen.
So you guys have Peyton, Charles Woodson, and Hines. Hines was 23rd on that other list, by the way. Just letting you guys know where they. Well, I think that was. Let me make sure.
God, people
Hines was 24th.
People forget. They talk about how feisty Steve Smith was. Dude, Hines Ward would come across the middle and
Is-
take your head off
is
as a
Smith
wide
not on the
receiver.
list yet, or is he already in it?
Steve Smith, is he
Did you get him last
already in?
year? I think he got in last year.
When did he retire, though? Has it been 5 years? Because he had his stint in Baltimore.
Might not be.
I don't think it's been 5 years.
I don't know.
'Cause he's
I'm
been
putting
gone
on
5
him.
years.
He's next year. He's next
Is he?
year.
Okay.
He'll be available next year. Okay.
He might not get in. He
Maybe
might not get in next year.
Maybe not on his first, but
Put
he'll
it this
get
way.
in.
If Calvin Johnson gets in this year, he'll get in next. Maybe they might do first ballot on him.
I'm
They
due-
don't let
I-
Michael Irvin in first ballot.
I'm
I
due this-
like Steve Smith, but
I do too. I did the same thing that you talked about. I put the other two in over Calvin because they've been on the list.
right. And a lot of people will
Because Calvin's getting in.
right.
Yeah,
at some
it's just a
point.
matter of time. That's with everybody. Is he getting in first ballot? And that's what everybody looks at you and says, well, is he
They
in
act like
first
there's a
ballot?
They act like there's a room in this joint that
Says,
says
hey,
first,
first
ballot.
ballot.
There's not.
No,
I've
it's-
been there.
It's
There's
just
not.
it just says he's a Hall of Famers.
Right. They're all the Buster in the same room.
You're up next on that one, Kevin. I mean,
well.
are you gonna put Torrey?
I'm gonna see if Zach. No. I mean, on this list, no. Looking at this list, who do you think I'm gonna put? It should be blaringly obvious.
Is it John Lynch?
No.
Darren Woodson.
There you go. The 3-time.
I mean, it's been a long time.
Name one Super Bowl safety that's. No, who's won 3? Who's won 3
Right,
Super
but
Bowls?
it's been a long
You can
time that he's got to be on this list. When did he retire? 98.
Yeah, a long time ago. They haven't replaced him yet. That's the thing about Dallas is why I
And
think they've been bad.
he's
for
too young
20
to
years.
remember,
They
but-
never replaced Darren Woodson.
He was our field general on the back end.
Right. He was the best safety at a time.
Yeah.
Whether it's 3 to 5 years, there was a time period where he was the best safety in football. And when you do that, and like I said a little while ago, when you're, Fred Taylor's on this list. At any point was he ever thought of as the best running back in football?
I wouldn't put Fred Taylor in.
So, well, I saw this morning I think LeVar was saying that they should put Fred Taylor in because somebody has got more yards than somebody, more
He had a
touchdowns than
good,
somebody,
really good
and
year
more.
one
He had
time.
11,000 yards.
And you got Zach Thomas on here. That surprises me.
That's definitely not first. About Zach, yeah.
He was the Miami Dolphin.
He was good. Yeah. He was the Dolphins
Seemed
linebacker.
like he was a smaller linebacker.
He was good.
But, I mean,
But
so you're putting Darren Woodson. I don't have a problem with
put
that.
it this way. I don't think Woodson doesn't belong. He's not more spectacular or first ballot, say, as Peyton or Calvin. They don't have the argument for that. But damn, Zach, like you said, it's been a while.
Been a while.
And you're not putting in John Lynch over Darren Woodson. Rodney Harrison,
No,
I
I'm
listen
not.
to, but
Absolutely
I
not.
still think Darren's way better.
I think Rodney Harrison was great.
Mm-hmm.
I think him. I
You
think
got
they're.
Leroy
I think they're.
Butler
I
on
think
there.
they're really
You
close.
got Rondé Barber. Now, what about Eric Allen?
Rondé Barber was awesome.
Eric Allen's Hunter for
I thought,
years. Wasn't he the?
I thought he had a really good
Who?
short time. Eric Allen.
Right.
That's he's number 59, the Minnesota guy, right?
For about 5. No, that's Jared Allen.
Oh, never mind.
Eric
Okay,
Allen
I'm
is
sorry.
the cornerback from Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
Who was
back
when,
in the
when
day
you
in
used
the
to rank
90s.
him? It was
Yeah.
Dion,
Yeah.
Darryl Green, Eric Allen. So he wasn't the best because Dion was there. But damn, if Dion's one of the 4 best players in the history of the game, or 5, whatever you think he is,
He's been on there a while too.
Eric Allen's been on there a long time. Sam Mills, no. Richard
Poor
Seymour,
Willie
I don't
Anderson's
think
been on
so.
there forever.
Flipper's on there. Now, Flipper had some good numbers.
He did.
I like Rondé.
Rondé was really good.
Rondé was really good. I thought Rondé, football-wise, was better than Tiki.
This is a tough
Probably,
list.
but I don't think Rondo was ever the best corner in the league, maybe. I don't know. I might be wrong.
I'm trying to
He
think.
was
with the years
because
that-
you had Reba. Yeah,
you had
were around the
Revis,
same length I am.
but-
But dang, he was good, and he was with a really good defensive team. With
Tampa.
yeah, they were awesome. They
So-
had Tampa too.
So let's agree, the 3 of us, on one more finalist as a group. We did Peyton as a group, then we named 3, and then we'll do one more as a group
I'm looking over the
that we
whole-
can agree on, and then we'll do the next 5, and then we'll move on.
All right, so everybody go down.
I tell you what, everybody else nominate one more for that spot.
For the top spots.
Right, the 5th spot.
So what do we have right now? We have Peyton.
Charles Hines and Darren Woodson.
So we got
So we
Peyton,
got the
Charles,
Woodsons.
Hines, and Darren.
2 Woodsons, Hines Ward, and Peyton Manning.
Excuse me.
If I had to pick one other person on that list who's surefire I think should be in the Hall of Fame, I've got it down to 2. Tony Baselli was outstanding.
I saw him
As a
earlier
lineman.
because he's one of the best linemen ever.
Right.
I saw him on there, and he kind of
And I think Torrey's waited
and he's
too
probably
I
going to
think-
get in because of the position.
I think Torrey's waited too long, but we'll see. I'm going to write down Baselli as my nominee for that. Hunter, you got a nominee? Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis.
I think
Jared Allen.
Patrick's gonna have to wait. His career wasn't that long, but it was a good one. Don't get me wrong, but because he was battling at the time. Patrick Willis was battling at the time when Luke came in and against Bobby Wagner, against who was really the best middle linebacker in the NFL.
That's why I thought they come together.
But to me, and people are gonna call me crazy, but I know he's a fullback, but dang, John Lynch used to just kill people.
No, he's not fullback. You're thinking Mike Allstott.
Mike Allstott.
John Lynch
Lynch
was
a safety.
He was
Never
the safety
mind.
for them.
And he was decent, but like Kevin said, he was never the best.
I'm sorry, Lynch. He's the general
good
manager
player.
with the 49ers
Right.
now too.
Very
That's
good
right.
player.
I was thinking of Mike Allstott.
It said Patrick Willis was an All-Pro
you got-
5 times.
You got Clay Matthews Jr. on there that was really good. He's offensive lineman, correct? Or was he a defensive lineman?
Is that the?
Clay Matthews?
Here, let me pull him up.
I think
I'm
he
sure
was
he's on my
offensive
list
lineman.
here. Clay Matthews, linebacker, Cleveland Browns, Atlanta Falcons. If you're a linebacker and you ain't made it yet,
I was thinking he was
probably not
Indianapolis. Why am
probably
I
not
thinking
gonna
he was
happen.
Indianapolis?
Bruce's brother was a lineman for the Oilers.
Bruce Matthews? Maybe?
Yeah,
That's probably who I'm
Bruce
thinking
Matthews
about.
was a lineman for the Oilers.
Yeah.
His son
that's-
plays in the NFL.
So they got Reggie
Still,
Wayne
actually, no, I
10,
think he's still a free agent.
Sam Mills 9, Steve Tasker. Who gives a crap? That's just
That's gone. He's passed.
put Bill Bates in if that's what you're gonna do. I'm just nah.
I'm gonna say Torrey Holt for me. But they're not gonna.
I'm
Put,
fine on Torrey.
Torrey's got some
Who'd
amazing.
you say
stats.
yours was, Hunter? Did you decide?
No, because I was mistaken.
Well, y'all give me 2.
I'm good with Torrey.
Give me one more, Zach, and you give me 2, Hunter, and then Zach.
I give
me
you
one more.
2?
Yeah, both of you get 2. I don't care that much to argue about. I think everybody else on this list has an argument. Like here's people I'll say no to. How about that? Flipper, probably no.
Yeah, he's a no.
Cornelius Bennett was good.
I know. I that was looking with Torrey Holt for me.
John Lynch, no.
Faneca,
Zach Thomas, no. Steve Tasker, no. Richard Seymour, no. Sam Mills, no. Clay Matthews Jr., no. So there's 7 I just marked off
Taylor,
the list. There's you got
no.
18 after that.
Reggie
Choose.
Wayne could get put in,
Right,
but I
his
think he's
numbers
got to
there.
wait behind some of these guys.
Reggie had such huge shoes to fill when Marvin left, and he did it. I mean, he did
The thing that Reggie has that Marvin didn't is that Reggie hasn't shot anybody.
We just talked about that.
If the voters are they've brought in Marvin Harrison and Lawrence Taylor.
Now that's the question: does Plaxico even get looked at?
No.
No.
All right, Zach and Hunter.
God forbid
Hunter, give me
shooting
2,
yourself.
and Zach one more.
I'm gonna go Bennett. I just like Cornelius Bennett, and it's probably a Tecmo thing.
I think Rondé gets in.
He's good.
Tecmo Ball.
He was.
It's good on Tecmo Ball.
How much is Bruce at? I mean, he was so fast. You think how much does Bruce Smith take away from it? But I think Cornelius was good.
I had the book that Rondé and Tiki both wrote together for children
Was that supposed to say
when
the
I was
kids'
in
book?
elementary school. I had that book. I think I still
Both
have
of
it
them are
somewhere.
What was
really
it
good
called?
football
You remember?
players.
You remember what it's called?
Oh God, I don't remember, but it was just basically a kid's book about them growing up together.
Yeah.
And they both choosing football, and
Both being very good at it.
yeah, good enough to make it NFL and play for quite a while.
I mean, because even Tiki
Does-
was really good for the Giants.
I was gonna say, did Tiki win a Super Bowl with the Giants, or was he out before that?
He was on.
He was
won it with.
okay.
My brother's side game day.
That's
or
what
go
it is.
long.
It's my brother's side.
That's the one you.
That's the one I had.
Teammates, extra innings. They got about 5 or 6 children's books. So good for them.
I remember when I was in elementary school, got it at the book fair.
All right, who'd you say, Zach? Or no, Hunter. I needed 2 from you. I never got.
I said Rondé.
And who else? Did you say Torrey Holt or did he say Torrey?
He said
You
Torrey.
yeah.
I agreed though.
Yeah, you got Zach had Holt and Bennett. I needed 2 from you, Hunter. I had Baselli and Darren Woodson.
So there's Rondé and
You don't know who Leroy Butler is. He was one of the best safeties. He was okay.
I
but
don't even
Darren
remember
Woodson was
Leroy
better than
Butler.
Philadelphia and Green Bay. Green Bay with the Packers. He won that Super Bowl with the Packers. He
In
was
the
their
2000s?
safety. He was their safety. No,
90s?
Brett Favre.
I don't even remember that.
He was Favre's safety on that team, but I don't think he was better than Darren Woodson. Again, Woodson won 3 Super Bowls. Rodney Harrison, Alan Faneca's really
I
good.
was leaning more towards Rodney Harrison.
Bryant Young was pretty good.
I mean, he's Super Bowl winner.
The receivers, you just got to kind of choose, but put Calvin down, dude.
Yeah, how we
He's
look.
gonna get- he's
Go
gonna
to
get
Calvin.
votes.
Oh yeah,
I think we just went
forgot.
over him because it's gold, but
I went over him
He's gonna
because
get votes.
I went over him because we sat here and said he probably won't
I
make
did
it
too. Right.
first ballot, and I was like, all right, fine, yeah, Calvin.
I just can't.
I'm
I don't think
yeah.
they'll put multiple wide receivers in, but they might.
Well, if there's 4 or 5 wide receivers on the list, like they probably make up every bit of like a percentage of this.
Zach, you said Hines. I would have Holt over Hines at the wide receiver spot.
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
So basically, we've got Peyton, Charles Woodson, Hines or Holt, whichever one you like better. Woodson at the two Woodsons, and then one more, whether it's Tony Baselli, Cornelius Bennett, Rondé Barber, or Calvin Johnson, depending on whether Calvin gets those first place ballots or not. All right, so there's our thoughts on the Football Hall of Fame. Let's move over to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I hadn't seen that one yet. I did tell you that Nick Swisher was on it. Somebody was laughing.
No way.
He was a career 250 batting average.
Oh my God.
These are older ones. I'm trying to find the new names.
Awesome. Have they went down?
Nick Swisher gets on there and talks with Colin every now and then, and all I ever hear out of him when he talks is, "Yeah, bro," and then "Yeah, dude," and "Yeah, absolutely, bro," and I'm like,
Oh, Fisher,
dude,
yeah.
you Swisher. I'm like, dude, you need to calm
Fisher,
down.
So here's the list. There are people still on it. It's turned into.
Where'd you get the list?
I typed in Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame.
trying
We're
to
already
find it.
talking about the Hall of Fame again. I thought we
just
were,
done that.
I felt
like-
like we had just done it a few weeks ago for Derek Jeter. and
It's
them.
not showing me the new names.
or no
I can't
for
find it
Rivera
either.
getting in.
I'm fine. I'm not finding the new name. Announced Monday, former All Stars. All right, here's some of the new names. Okay, Torrey Hunter, Tim Hudson, Mark Burley, and Barry Zito.
I think Barry gets in. Maybe not first ballot, but Barry was a hell of a pitcher with the A's. Torrey Hunter was good in the outfield, and his son is a good football player.
AJ Burnett, Michael Kadire, Dan Herron, LaTroy Hawkins, Aramis Ramirez, Nick Swisher, Shane Victorino.
Nick
Those are your-
Swisher doesn't get in at all.
Here's the guys.
agree.
Here's the guys
Ever.
who were on it last year, who received votes, at least 5%.
Where's
of the
Pete
votes.
at?
Who?
Pete Rose.
He's still not there.
Kurt Schilling.
You're gonna be
Roger-
waiting for a while.
Kurt Schilling, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, Omar Vizquel, Scott Rowland, Billy Wagner, Gary Sheffield, Todd Helton, Manny Ramirez, Jeff Kent, Andrew Jones, Sammy Sosa, Andy Pettit, and Bobby Abreu. Ladies and gentlemen, your roid rage is in there.
You know what's going? You know what's happening? Everybody that didn't take roids is already getting in,
Yeah.
and they're
And
going to
they're-
be left.
and
with
they're
those.
left.
They're getting in. It's
Somebody's
coming.
gonna have to get in.
It's coming.
Barry.
I'm
If
gonna
Bonds
tell you
does
what.
not get in this year, is an outrage.
I had and I made this argument last year, and I don't know why people does not like this guy. I thought Gary Sheffield was absolutely outstanding,
I liked him.
and I think he should be in.
He hit the ball extremely hard and swung hard.
I liked Gary. I remember him.
wasn't a
I
big- I've
remember
never been a
Gary
big-
more towards his later years in New York.
I haven't been that big of a fan of his. I don't like his swing.
I don't either. He's like that. He's got that.
He just swings really
He
hard.
keeps his bat like
Right. He
moving.
swings
You don't
really,
like that bat. You don't
I
like that
it
bat
still.
whip.
I like it still.
He just swings so hard. There's no control over it. And I was a control hitter, so like
And
he's
I
not trying to go backside. He was like, "There's a pitch out there, Hunter. I'm gonna swing this
Yeah.
son of a bitch as hard as I."
He
He's
is.
like Vladimir Guerrero kind of. Sheffield and Vlad.
It's
are like
effective.
I love
It was
Vlad.
effective.
Vlad's
I love
better.
Vlad. I absolutely love Vlad.
So
But he won Triple Crown, did he not?
who?
Gary Sheffield.
I don't think
Close?
anybody's won.
I thought he
Second place?
did.
Second place?
I don't think anybody's won one in a long time, have they?
Well, it would have been in the 90s.
Well,
Sheffield. But I think he might have got second.
So-
He might have finished second in steals.
Schilling, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, Omar Vizquel, Scott Rowland, Billy Wagner, Gary Sheffield, Todd Helton, Manny Ramirez, Andrew
We
Jones,
just had this discussion.
Jeff Kent, Sammy Sosa, Pettit, and Abreu. Give me two you want in. Well, for no reason. For any reason whatsoever.
Bonds is going to be on there. We would say that regardless. One that needs to be in is Barry Bonds. And no
Barry was
if
going to be
ands-
on there, but steroids or not.
If ands, or buts. Barry Bonds.
And
voter-
I thought Clemens would have been too. I'm a Clemens
I
fan,
was
and I know
about
a
to-
lot of people don't like
but-
Clemens. I like Clemens.
I'm not a
people
fan
like-
of him, but he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame if you put the other steroid era people in because unless
people
you're
like Roger Clemens a little bit more than they like Kurt Schilling.
I do. I thought Clemens is by far
The better pitcher.
better as far as historically than Kurt Schilling. Clemens had 2 careers basically, kind of like Bonds did. He had a pre-steroid.
He
and
went
after-
Red Sox
He did.
and then he went
He
to
did.
Toronto. And then he went to the Yankees. He almost had 3.
Right. So the thing I'm thinking is, when you
But
start,
see, that's why a lot of people hate Roger Clemens, because he ended up a Yankee at the end.
right. If you let anybody in from the 90s, you have to let everyone in. And because you don't know who took what. First of all, also, Zach,
How many years
it wasn't
is it-
against the rules.
How many years does it
No.
take till you're on the ballot for baseball?
I think everything's 5 years. Before you
Everything's
can get on.
5
I
years?
think, I think all of it.
And we've put in the people that really didn't take any. I mean, Griffey
As
didn't
much
take
as
that.
they could, yeah. And Griffey talked about that. I don't know if I discussed that with you. I saw he said I never saw it in the locker room.
He did that interview with Shannon Sharp.
Right. And he said that he never thought about it. He said he's just hard work. What he got good at was being in the outfield. What made him a good outfielder was shagging flies for his dad when he was little. He said that's how I got to be a good outfielder. I'm just out there catching major league balls that are hit hard on a major league stadium. He said once I got out there for real, it was
He probably
it was
had
easy.
top 3 swing all time.
Yeah.
And so they're already in. I mean,
So let's say I'm gonna go through this list. I'll give you my opinions on them. Then y'all can. Bobby Abreu, no. Andy Pettit, no. Sammy Sosa, yes. Andrew Jones, yes. Jeff Kent, no. Manny Ramirez, no. Todd Helton,
No
yes.
on Manny?
Oh, did I say no, man?
yeah, I was
Yeah.
like,
I thought I said yeah on him. Did I say him
No.
twice?
Yeah.
You said no.
think I said him name.
You said no on Jeff Kent and
Yeah.
no on
yeah,
Manny
sorry,
Ramirez.
yeah,
I'm
Manny.
good with that. Manny's a.
I was about to say, what?
And I don't like Red Sox.
As long as you let Manny in and not let Ortiz, I'll be good. Helton in,
Poppy's
yes.
getting in regardless.
Sheffield,
I love
I'm
Sheffield.
50-50 on Sheffield. If he gets in, it's not going to upset me. Billy Wagner, maybe. I don't know. Scott Rowland, maybe the best third baseman besides A-Rod in the last 20-some years. Before
Who did he play for?
Cardinals and
That's
Phillies.
what I thought. I don't remember. I was thinking Cardinals, but
And I mean by defense, like he could hit the ball.
Listen, that's why
but
I
he was
asked.
great at defense.
That's why I asked how many years do you have to be retired before you get your name on the the
ballot.
for the Hall of Fame? Because when A-Rod's name gets brought up, there's gonna be so much discussion about it. Because think about it, in the '90s he wasn't taking the steroids.
He can't
but he
get
played.
in
But he
until
played in
Bonds
the
gets in.
'90s.
You don't think so?
I don't think A-Rod can get in until Bonds gets in. That's just maybe I'm wrong.
Well, hopefully Bonds gets in this year.
We'll
Here's
look
what
at some vote. I'll look it up.
Here's what A-Rod's got. Bonds got 60%.
Did he? Okay.
Here's what A-Rod's
What do you have to get set?
80.
Hey,
But they were some strong people on there last year.
75%. Football was 80.
Mm-hmm.
Football is 80%. Baseball is 75. Schilling at 70. Clemens 61. Bonds 61 roughly.
how many
Are the
how many
closest.
times are you on a list before they take you off?
I don't
It's
think
like
you ever
15
come off
years
there.
or something like
it's
that.
just-
And then you go. Then they move you to there's a veterans committee, and they get to nominate 1 or 2 people. And so Bonds and Pete Rose and them will end up on the
Veterans
Veterans
Committee.
Committee.
Maybe.
Some-
ridiculous, Pete Rose. Anyway,
the all-time hits leader and home runs leader are not in the Hall of Fame.
That's a hell of a. Aliens come down and they ask, well, who was the all-time leader in hits in baseball or in home runs? They're not in here. What?
I might ask a question. I might be wrong. Has Ichiro been out long enough?
Well, he's not on the list, so obviously not.
No,
He's
not
not.
yet.
Yeah,
But he will be.
yeah. Because
It should
he's
be
gonna
close.
first ballot.
It should
He
be
should be
close.
first.
Yeah, it's gonna be- he'll probably get 90.
Here's what A-Rod has that Bonds doesn't. Yes, there's a lot of people that don't like A-Rod. There's a lot of people that do like him.
Oh, I love it.
There's a lot of people that think he's a very good-looking man.
Well, that too, but
and he's
think
on
about,
TV.
I was going to say, baseball has embraced A-Rod a little
Right.
bit more,
Oh, yeah.
or else they wouldn't have.
He
They
did
wouldn't
win a
have him on
championship.
MLB Network or whatever they have him
He's
on.
by far, Zach, a better defender than Barry Bonds. Bonds, you sit in left field with the
You
biggest
know-
glove they've ever made, Hunter.
Yeah,
Like he
and-
had. I mean, this glove was like
And you know when A-Rod
he
went
could barely
from-
fit his head in his glove. Is how big that glove was.
That's a big ass head too. Good God.
when A-Rod
That's his helmet.
when A-Rod went horrible. That's Goliath's helmet.
We got Barry Bonds' helmet here.
But when A-Rod went to the Yankees, he thought he was playing shortstop. You remember?
Yeah.
And it's still hard feelings about that. And he did not play third base well. He could not pick that change in the way the ball came at him. He flubbed a lot of grounders from. How you doing, Barry?
This is Barry Bonds' helmet.
That's horrible. Yeah, it says Biggs on the
The
side
big
too.
seed. The big seed.
That's horrible. I bet Hulk Hogan's head could fit in that.
That's a watermelon.
That's another story for another time. But they couldn't find a helmet to fit Hulk Hogan. It's kind of like the guy that played for Crest last year.
Yeah, he had to order a special helmet. I can't remember his name. He's a nice kid, but by God, he's like 6'8".
Never got to get on the field.
Good God.
Every time I watched him, he sat on the sideline. I'm like, how you put him on the sideline?
At least
Anyway,
defensive tackle, something. Block the extra points.
Did you finish the whole list when you were saying yes?
Yeah,
and no?
I did. Well, no, not really. Vizquel, I could be
Very
talked.
good.
I could be talked into it. I wouldn't hate it. Bonds, yes. Clemens, yes. Schilling, probably. Schilling's on that 50-50 debate with me. I don't think he was ever the best
And the funny
pitcher.
thing is, he got the most votes out of all of them last year.
See, I don't think he was ever the best pitcher in baseball. Clemens probably was at some point.
Oh, I was thinking. I wasn't thinking Schilling. No, I was thinking Sheffield. I apologize.
Yeah, Bonds is probably the best out, obviously. Rowland might have been the best third baseman at some point.
Roger Clemens, regardless, was the best pitcher at one point,
Right.
regardless of his steroid
I think people
abuse.
arguing for Andy Pettit. I'm like, hell no.
Andy Pettit.
He admitted to using-
Andy Pettit wouldn't even. Well,
He
he
wasn't even
admitted,
that good.
and he
Well,
wasn't
maybe
even the best pitcher on the Yankees at the time.
No, he was. I think he was third
he just no.
You know
I
why
say
he's
no
on the
Pettit.
list?
because he's a Yankee.
He's a Yankee.
Well,
That's
yeah.
Hey,
why,
that's the
why-
same reason Nick
That's
Swisher's
why
on
Jeter
there.
and Mariano got the percentages.
Listen,
that they
Nick,
did.
Nick Swisher's on there for a reason. He's a Yankee. Or he's up for consideration.
Did somebody have to
He's a
nominate him,
Yankee.
or does that just mean he's there?
That's just.
Well, is he just there, or was that a nomination? That's what I want to know. And inquiring minds want to know. Let me mute that for a second.
Please tell me somebody's commented
Chris
today.
probably is.
Yeah, because we got
Clive's
to have.
helmet. He liked it. He says Sheffield's borderline. So, yeah, I agree, Chris.
And I might be partial. I just like to watch
Right,
Sheffield
yeah.
play. I just like to watch
What
him
I'm saying,
play.
what I'm saying is they named him. Here's
Wouldn't
what I
have a
would
problem
say:
with
if
it.
you put Sheffield in, Mark McGuire better be in that damn thing.
Oh, I've always said McGuire.
I like
McGuire was going to be in before he took steroids. Same with Barry.
Well, actually, I don't think so. I think McGuire started taking about third year. Canseco and them wrote about that
Well,
like
I've
1989.
got this book. It's a great book, by the way, if you want to read
Oh,
it.
speaking of Canseco, I had a what was it? There was a tweet today, Hunter.
Well,
Oh,
Kevin, you got to
no.
hurry because we're on a tight schedule.
Oh, no.
Well, this gets in no matter what. This is Jose Canseco, Hunter.
The book is awesome.
So remember, Canseco, he's got a couple car washes, and he's got a Bigfoot hunting organization that he has. Let me find this. This is awesome today. I was laughing down the hall a little while ago. So
Oh, I forgot college basketball stuff.
Zach, if any of those people, if you had to say two people, let's not name Bonds. You was like, man, I those two. You got Sheffield and who else? Clemens. Okay, Hunter.
Did you say
Give me
not,
people
not
not
saying
Bonds, Sheffield, or Clemens. That you think
not
probably
named Bonds, Sheffield, or Clemens? Manny.
Yes.
Manny.
You said Manny.
Yeah. I loved the
he was
swag-
one of them, too.
I loved the swagger Manny would
I
play
like
with,
the
dude.
swing.
Oh my
Listen,
God.
Manny was one of the best hitters. I think right-handed hitters of all time. I think he's right there in the Pujols land of hitting. He was a nutbag.
Damn right he
and,
was.
and he played for Boston and beat us, and I didn't like him for that. So I've got some of that against him. But again, if you're letting, we're going we're not worrying about steroids on any of this.
I don't care.
I'm gonna tell you what
I said let him in.
I would
And I don't like
I would
Boston.
put Sosa in too. I gotta have
I
Sosa.
like.
in there.
I have a
He had
soft
the
spot for
swagger.
Boston because my grandfather's the Red Sox
And he had
fan.
the look. Did he? If he was on the Braves, he would have been like beloved, like you had ever seen. I mean, could you imagine what he had? The long dreadlocks.
Yeah, the big dreadlocks.
He looked like a superhero. He really did, and he could. I mean, he had a beautiful swing.
And see what's so crazy too is he wasn't the biggest.
Hunter, what Sosa and McGuire did for baseball, like I know it was right before.
It
what
was-
was your year you was born? You said
96.
97.
It was right after the strike.
And people act like they were just, it was before that. Guys were getting close to the home run record.
It was in the
people were
50s.
hitting 50s.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was a surprise that it got broke. The surprise was that once McGuire broke it, because Sosa was there too, they had to keep hitting them, and that's why they ended up at 70. It's because if I'm not going to break the record, and this dude passed me, so
Right.
McGuire broke the record and just kept hitting bomb, bomb, bomb. But Sosa, like, the fans loved him. I mean, they absolutely loved Sammy Sosa. And, he got caught with a cork bat, too.
He got caught. Yeah, he did.
And he's got all kinds of things. But, damn it, Zach, I mean, He was the face of baseball for 4 or 5 years.
He
there for a
was.
while.
My question with him
McGuire
was,
and
is
Bonds
would
and
he
Griffin.
make it without steroids? That's my only question
Who?
about Sosa.
Right, that's a great question, but
No.
we don't know.
We don't know. I'm 100%. I saw Barry play without steroids, and he was fantastic.
Yeah, but at the time, we can look at it and say this: it was part of the game. They weren't
Right.
just the only ones.
I'll tell you this. And
They were-
this
the
is going to
pitchers
be
were
my
doing it, too.
opinion.
Yeah, it
What
was
had
part
happened-
of the game.
You were before this time, and Kevin, I know you remember this. When the strike hit, baseball went into the doldrums. I mean,
Right, there wasn't no
bad.
internet. There wasn't like you wasn't
It-
watching it every day on ESPN.
They were in a tank, and then when this home run thing started going, people started tuning in, and they started putting them on prime time. Mm-hmm. You had Sosa and you had McGuire, and sometimes you had them back to back on television. And I can remember it's the same year I met my wife. We went to her sister's house in Raleigh. First year I met her, and it was starting off the season, and McGuire and Sosa was hitting bombs, and
But that's what I meant. There was like how Kevin said, pitchers were doing it. Guys,
Well, they
that
had to.
and listen, and guys that you wouldn't have even we don't even talk about their names because the steroids really didn't work for them. They were taking it just to keep up.
Brady Anderson.
Like
Hit
it was
51 homers.
like it was
Yeah.
it was a part of the game. So we can't just look at that time period in baseball and just go take it out like a Lego.
Hunter, people also act like when they say steroids, people get in this mind of bodybuilders.
They're all just fucking jacked.
That's not what they
No.
look like.
No.
Because one, when you play 162 games in a year, you can't just straight lift like that. If
No.
you ask
and it
McGuire,
messed your body up.
right, McGuire talked.
You
all
get fat and really watery if you don't work out. on
right.
it.
McGuire's point on all for him, it was he was already doing that lifting. What he was doing it for was recovery and injury.
That's
So-
why a lot of guys right now are pushing for, like at least in today's game, they're pushing for HGH to be legalized in sports because of the recovery
They do.
aspects
They got to
that come
apologize
from
to
it.
all these other people.
I think they're already taking it, but HGH is different, and it's I think that's going to be worse than the steroids. So I buy steroids, I take them, whatever the kind you use, blah blah blah. You do HGH, you ain't got a clue. You can't test for it. You can't tell. Is LeBron on it?
Somebody needs
My
to put
God, he's put
Balco
on
on the
50
list.
points of 50 pounds of muscle, hadn't he? About.
But I'm just
Who
saying,
is
like,
this?
LeBron. Is he on HGH?
I'm just saying,
Would
they're-
it not be worth it to the NBA, Hunter? Here, LeBron. Here's a bucket of HGH. We didn't
don't
see
care.
it.
You're
we don't
right.
know who gave it to you.
But that's what I'm just
There's
saying.
so
Though,
much money involved.
if you let everybody do it, it really doesn't matter at the time because it's the even playing field.
But here's the thing. Here's where it's not. And this is the argument that I like to give and that I've heard from some of my friends and other people, that's played. What do you tell kids? What do you tell high school players? What do you tell anyone that you can go out here and hit all you want, practice and all you want, but you're not going to make it unless you try to keep up with other
And then
people.
that throws into the point: what if the kid does not want to take it? I don't want to
Right.
put that in my body.
Right. So Dustin, he went and played at LR, and he said he put on like 30 pounds of muscle there. He said a bunch of guys were taking roids, but he didn't. But he says now watching some guys that he used to play against, they got bigger, went and played in minor league stuff. He said he kind of wishes that he might have tried it just to see. And Hunter, so for every guy that makes it to AA or the Major League Baseball, taking it, that takes away a guy who, like you said, isn't taking it. And you don't know, and that's what's tough about it. So I agree, Hunter, the 90s, we know what happened. I don't think they broke any rules. Nobody was suspended for anything. There wasn't a rule.
When they had McGuire in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee or whatever it was, they wasn't breaking any rules.
No.
Like
They
this
hadn't
was
broke a
legal.
rule.
Whatever they busted him for, and I
there
can't
was-
remember Androl. Was it not Androl?
there
or
was
something?
nothing in
Andro.
writing. Yeah, Andro. There was nothing in writing at the time about that. So they
And-
were just like,
right.
we can take it.
So
It's the
how
same-
can you punish somebody?
It's the same
when it wasn't
thing-
in the rule book.
It's the same thing where a few years ago, I think they got on, I think it was an Olympic athlete. There was nothing in the sport, or they used to talk about doping. You couldn't dope.
It would be
but
like-
they would take nitric oxide, which was not claimed as doping, but it would expand your blood vessels and allow for blood flow to be fed better.
It would be the same thing as going to a youth ball game and getting kicked out because you want to teach your daughter how to swing the bat in the batter's box, correct? Because the guy wanted to change the rules in the middle of the game.
Yeah. All right, I got my Jose Canseco.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we
Tweet.
forgot about that.
Yes, people, that is me on Plenty of Fish.
What is?
You know what Plenty of Fish is?
It's a dating app.
Oh, wow.
Plenty of Fish in the
That's
sea.
horrible.
Get it?
Yes, people, that is me.
That's
Jose
horrible.
Canseco. Yes, people, that is me on Plenty of Fish under JC 334040. He's 4040 man.
Mr. 4040.
Morgan and I broke up. She cheated on me, so I left her. Twitter gold.
He is the one-line bomber.
I love him. I love Jose. I can
Hey, have you read his book?
Lord knows.
I've got it. You need to read it. It's great. Absolutely great. He rips Rafael Palmeiro.
Yeah, he's not.
He rips A-Rod. He rips.
Do you think he was selling it to all of them?
I think he was.
Think about
I
this.
ain't gonna
Think
make
about
that
this.
comment. I ain't getting-
No, seriously, but no, I ain't trying to say it like that, but maybe, or he introduced a lot of them because think about it.
He said he injected. I believe it was. He injected Mark McGuire in his butt.
All those guys at some point
In the bathroom.
Right, yeah, he did say that. So, but what I'm saying is that remember, all these guys that took it
Was around him.
He gets
He was
thrown
in
under the
Texas.
bus more than anybody.
He was in Texas with
Rafi
A-Rod.
and A-Rod.
Yes.
Canseco was on both those teams. He was in the Yankees organization when all that stuff was going on too, with Clemens and everybody. Remember, he played it late in his career.
He
with
probably
the
just like,
Yankees.
he might not. He might just say, "Hey, let me tell you how to do this right."
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like to me, like because
His book is
I think
awesome.
that's why he doesn't like everybody. Is because I think they all put it on. They've
They just
all
threw him
put
under
it
the
on
bus.
Canseco. They've thrown Canseco under the bus on.
And he was a good hitter.
Stole 40 bases.
He did have a baseball go off his head and give somebody else a home run,
Well, yeah.
but he was 40-40. So yeah, and you, Hunter, you're just so
He won an
young.
MVP.
You're just so young, Hunter. But you know, in the late '80s, the Bash Brothers, 88, 89, I believe it was, with Mark McGuire and him. I mean, that was just. They had Ricky Henderson hitting first, and then you come up against Canseco and McGuire.
and McGuire 3-4.
And then they would put Dave Stewart on the mound.
Yeah, he was.
And
pretty good.
Eckersley would come in as relief. Like,
Yeah.
they were stacked.
Yeah, they were. He won 2 World Series and an MVP. He had 40 homers and stole 40 bases one year, Zach. In 1988, his MVP season, batted .307 with 42 homers, 124 RBIs, 40 stolen bases. Mike Trout, get up on some of that.
We
numbers,
talk
baby.
about, Bo Jackson being the best football, possibly player on Nintendo. That A's team on that RBI baseball, too, was pretty sick.
Yeah, it's tough. Tough.
You could bunt with Ricky Henderson and get to second base.
After he walks, steals second. He might steal third if you take enough pitches. Is how Zach, tell Hunter that number real quick on Ricky before I get out
I
of here.
had it wrote down actually right here. I wrote it as a side note. I didn't want you to forget this, but it was under my text to Kevin. So let's go here. Give me. In 1982, Ricky Henderson stole 130 bases. In 1989, AL and NL leaders combined stole 83.
Damn.
He stole 130 by himself. Now, knowing Vince Coleman was probably playing in 82,
He got
could
a
you
couple
imagine, the amount of stolen bases? That would have put them at 250, 220, 250. So, but I told Kevin, earlier too, they don't play small ball anymore either. But still, that's impressive.
Hunter, what do you think the main reason is they don't steal bases now? Zach was saying it might be philosophy. I was wondering if it had to do with velocity as far as pitchers and catchers' arms. And
Maybe being a little better.
But the best ever, Yachty is still only 50% throwing out people.
And you
So
might
to
not
me,
be wrong in that too, because
to me,
you're
you'd
talking about
think you'd
speed
send 'em.
of the. Before you answer, I want to say one thing because I didn't think about this when you said velocity earlier. Mm-hmm. If the ball is traveling faster to the mound, and we know it is, we've seen the
Yes.
average. Mm-hmm. That could factor in seconds.
It's
getting to second base.
1/10 of a
yeah,
second. But then again, like I
Well,
said, Hunter,
it's either that, and it just depends on probably. You think the guy at first is fast enough to get there in time?
Well, let's think about this. Baseball, we do all these numbers and all these analytics. If I look at you and say the guy on first has got a 65% chance of stealing,
Why not?
Yes, you're trying to move them base.
we'll pinch hit guys over 10 points in a batting average.
But then you
got a
see,
65%
then you see
chance
the
of stealing.
dumb shit that the Braves do in the playoffs. And then you're like, oh, so that's why we
Don't bring that up.
because they're idiots.
We lost the whole 3-0 lead or whatever we had because
Because
of
of that
running.
shit.
But just because they don't teach it. I told Kevin they don't teach
They
base
don't.
running.
I mean, they not anymore.
Vince Coleman's first 3 years in
He was 100.
110,
Like think about
107,
like, think about
109.
it. You know You know, if you've got your fastest guy on first and nobody's on second, you might as well send him.
He led baseball his first 6 years in stolen base.
And think about
nationally,
this too. Nationally, yeah, because he always had trouble with Ricky. But think about this: you're on first base. You're wanting to move him. You're wanting to avoid a double play. Mm-hmm. Then why don't you just move him yourself?
Yeah.
By stealing him. We talked about it. He said Yadier, 50% throwing people out, best all time. Pretty impressive.
He may be second now after he's got this year, but I know he's
but
1-2.
Even with Yadier,
right at 50.
he's sitting right there. You're running. You got a 50-50 chance of getting to second base.
Try it.
That's pretty good. That's what's weird about it. Because the guys are supposed to be faster, Hunter, and better athletes now. Shouldn't they be able to steal easier?
Well, that's what I'm
gets
saying.
older every year.
If you think they're fast, you can look at guys and tell whether or not they got the speed, though.
Yeah. Ricky only had 300 steal seasons, too. So him and Vince both had 300 steal seasons. Vince, Ricky's got the most at 130.
No, Kevin, you want to know why they don't steal bases like they used to anymore? Because it's either a home runner or strikeout.
That's what I said. That's
Nobody's
philosophy.
standing on first.
I mean,
it's
philosophy.
There's nobody on damn base anymore.
Yeah.
It's either a home run
or
a strikeout. Because I was sitting here thinking, I was like, if I was the Braves, who would be my guy that I want to steal the bases?
Albies.
It would either be Albies or Acuna, because Acuna was the youngest to get to 30 stolen bases at the year he did it. But to do that, you have to get on base. You can't just go up there and strike out or pop out or ground out or hit a home run. You got to get on base. That's why you don't see anybody with the numbers anymore, because they swing for the fences every time or they go sit down.
Yeah, they can't. It's philosophy. I think it's got a little bit of both, but I think it's philosophy.
And if they want it, and if they didn't want people to be so scared of the double play ball, that's why they tell them to either swing away or just strike out, then you would always freaking steal as soon as you got to first base, because then you're not in double play ball anymore.
A lot of people do like to watch home runs, and I like to see a home run every now and then. I get excited for it, but I'm not watching it for the home run. I like to watch them play small ball.
I like the pitching. I watch the pitching. That's why I got so mad at Kyle Wright, but that's neither here nor there. Dumbass throwing fastballs to the best hitting fastball team in baseball. Shit. Anyways, next topic.
Yeah,
we're done with it. We're done with
I wanted to get
Hall
y'all.
of Famers.
I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on this. North Carolina realigns every 4 years sports, high school sports. That is for you folks not know what I'm talking about.
North Kakalaki.
What they've decided, and I gave you guys some sheets to look at, is they're doing like a 3-year average. There's sometimes it's basically a BCS point system. It's nothing like what I said. Like, I simply want to count instead. They use the ADM numbers, right? Which is everybody in the school. So, folks, they count boys and girls.
I was talking to a guy the other day, and he said North Carolina does that wrong by doing that because Ohio only counts
the boys. Okay, so if you didn't want to count just football players, like I want to count football rosters and then do it by that. But then just count the boys in the school.
They keep it separate. Women's sports they count by girls. Men's sports they count by boys. That's how you do. That's how you should do it.
I don't think that's perfect, but I think it's a better way.
Right.
I 100% agree.
Like it won't
you.
be there will never be a pure perfect way.
I think my way is perfect
unless an algorithm comes out.
I don't know if they would cheat that way though. I'm concerned about cheating with counting football.
How would you cheat?
You just say we're only going to fill this many.
No, they have to report. You report your roster. It's on Max Preps.
But I'm saying, could they say we're not going to take anything over that? Like,
what do you mean?
Like, if it's going to say, if you got a roster of 40 and they got a roster of 60, we say, look, we want to be in a lower bracket. We want to get 40.
So you're going to cut kids?
We're just going to say, y'all just not going to play.
Yeah, just start cutting kids.
And do it under the table.
I'm afraid of that. If your kid got cut at whatever high school it was for that reason, would you not call the state of North Carolina? That would happen so quick.
President got messed up, and he's trying to go through all the courts, and he still can't win.
What I'm saying is that they've got so many ways. Like they have to report the school numbers.
Right.
They have to report the numbers. They have to report their rosters to Max Preps. Like you can't go out there and not have a kid on your roster. Like he has to be on the roster. So what I'm saying is that, Zach, they do this. This is the simplest way. Last year. You don't do this year's roster because whatever finagling you could say, there are ways you might finagle or cheat. But if you just use last year's roster, hey, in 2017, you guys had 53 people. You're 3A.
And it does stink because you had Christ the King come up here to Cherville last year and got waxed, and they had like 14 people on the team.
Oh, get ready for this. Have y'all looked at this sheet?
I looked at it. I kind of hurt my
small.
feelings when I saw Thomas Jefferson in 1A.
This is going to suck.
Reedsville? Really?
Reedsville is going to be moving to 1A.
Reedsville and Thomas Jefferson.
You mean Thomasville? Thomas Jefferson's been in 1A.
Yeah, but I still go back to I do not like these teams that can field players being in the same bracket. They need to go up one.
Oh, you talk about the charters?
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's.
I think the
it's fair.
charters should be in their own.
I don't
system.
think it's fair.
Charter schools should play
Right.
charter schools.
They're about big
That's
enough
it.
they can now.
That's
But
it.
they're not even dealing with that. They don't care about that. The state don't. The state. This why Zach. The state wants. They get a check from each
Yeah,
school.
they revenue.
So that's all they care about. Is
It's just
wherever you want it, we'll pay you this. Thomasville moving down to 1A. That's big.
especially in
Reedsville.
baseball.
This now this isn't 100%, folks. So, but this is the projections for what will happen. Now here's where we're going to get damn crazy. Pine Lake Prep, Community School of Davidson, Lincoln Charter, Highland Tech,
Highland Tech will get waxed.
Oh, that's awful.
Mountain Island Charter.
They
Mountain
get
Island.
waxed.
All will be
They were,
moving.
was Mountain Island
to
had
the
the two
2A.
really good ball players, or was that Pine Lake Prep? That was Pine Lake Prep that had
It was
the really.
Mountain Island.
Was
No,
Mountain-
but, hey,
okay.
but regardless, they got to graduate at some point.
Yeah.
They might. There's no guarantee they're still there. So.
Thomas Jefferson's record against the Best Mercedes Yellow Jackets is 0 forever. They've never beat them. Now we beat them by 2 points every game, they've never beat us. So there's that. They've split. They went down to Mountain Island, and after they talked a bunch of junk, got some of their players. We waxed them. So they can recruit, but the thing is, this is 2A.
Yeah.
We're not talking about playing Best Mercedes and Cherokee.
You're talking about Burns coming up there.
We're talking about Shelby. Shelby's still in the 2A.
How the hell did that happen?
Shelby will be playing Highland Tech.
That's going to be.
I want you to look at
I'm
this.
going to pull it up for the folks who can see at home.
Now, why do you have them separated? Is there anything?
The game plan.
What I did, those are my projected
2A small,
conferences.
2A big?
No, just conferences. They're both two. Those are 2A and 3A teams, but those are the actual conference projections. Is what I'm doing there.
Well, my God, I'm looking at this top conference in 2A. Shit, Newton Conover would be my favorite.
Just in that conference.
Just in that.
All right.
Bunker Hill has been the anthill for as long as I can remember in football, especially when I was there. Highland Tech, Mountain Island Charter, Lincoln Charter, Community School of Davidson, and Pine Lake Prep all are being asked to play up from where they were last year.
Watch
I don't
Lincoln
know.
Charter eventually get good because their basketball team has.
Well,
It's
that-
going
that
to
just-
eventually get there.
I'm just talking football
Yeah.
wise though.
Yeah, I
As a-
agree.
They're not
But
ready.
Lincoln Charter don't have a football team, do they? They just
I
got
don't
the
think they-
basketball. They
No,
play
no
flag
football yet.
football.
No football.
No football yet. They've got baseball and basketball.
Yeah.
And they've been pretty good at both. Because those sports, you need two guys, you need two pitchers and two scorers. You can play.
And
You can
sometimes
compete.
basketball, if you just got one stud.
Right, you can compete. So this is the way they broke it down. So look at this other.
This one,
split
I don't know.
I split it, Hunter, into. I tried to do the best I could with these splits. Now, I did the splits. The state didn't do the splits. The state just listed them 2A, 3A. I went ahead and put them in what conferences I thought they could be, and
That's fair.
here's where I went with them. Lincoln County, Cleveland County, and Rutherford County all play each other in middle school. It's the Tri-County Conference. So there's no reason those teams shouldn't play each other in high school. So I put Lincoln, Rutherford, and Cleveland County together. And there's one in there that's not from there, and that's Hunter Huss. And I couldn't put Hunter Huss in that other bracket. Like, they're not. Hunter Huss is going to say, I'm not being in the same. They would not be in because they make their own conferences. Hunter Huss would not be in the conference with Highland Tech and Mountain Island. It's just not going to happen. So I put Huss in the bottom bracket there to make a competitive 8-team conference. Now let's go over 3A, Hunter. When I was in high school,
We played bandies a lot.
well, they were in our conference. They were in our conference when you was in high school. After you
I was
graduated,
a 2A.
right? After you graduated, they split.
Went 2A.
Cherville
1,
went,
2A, 2,
Cherville
something
went
like that.
1A. Maiden went 1A. Maiden right now, Hunter's on path to be 3A now.
And Maiden was
Bandy's, your high school, 3A.
That does not need. They don't need to be anywhere
High
near
Brighton
3A.
moving up to 3A. Ford moving up to 3A. East
High
Lincoln
Brighton usually fields a pretty good team, don't they?
and
Or no?
North Lincoln. Yes, High Brighton's good.
I thought so.
High Brighton is very good.
That's who
that
beat
where I
Shelby.
went last
That's who
year?
beat Shelby.
I'm gonna
the year
check-
before.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
they
check-
beat Shelby
I'm gonna
last year. The
check
year before is who
mark.
beat Shelby.
I'm gonna
That's
check
who
mark.
ended their
Who
streak.
plays up above Lenore Ryan? I mean, up above in Lenore.
Yeah, High-Bright.
That was High-Bright when we went and watched Burns. Okay, I was
Listen,
thinking that was them.
Maiden,
Yeah,
High
sure.
Brighton, East Lincoln, and North Lincoln. Only ones that
Brett
have good
Ford
football
usually
programs
horrible.
right now.
East Lincoln's
Bandy's
iffy.
head coach is gone, so I don't know what they're going to have there right now. And Fred T. Ford has been lucky to even compete for the last few years.
North
so,
Lincoln's getting better.
So North used to be 3A, and they used
got
to be in a
swamped.
they used to be in a 3A 4A conference.
They got
Was North
swamped.
Lincoln 2A last year?
Yes.
They've been 2A for
East
the
was
past 2
2A
or 3
last year.
The last 4 years they've both been 2A.
Both these are 2. Bandy's was a 2A last year.
Yes, that whole that whole thing
It
was
is
2A last year.
Yeah, Maiden was.
Yeah.
High-Bright. Yeah, because High-Bright played Burns. So
Right,
what
that
about
whole
Ford?
bracket was 2A.
High Brighton has
Ford was
made
2A
it close
last
to
year. They play
winning.
West
I think
Lincoln.
High
Oh,
Brighton
they're
has
in
won a
trouble.
2A championship in the last year or so.
Yes, they beat Shelby and then moved on and won the championship.
And guess what? Now High Brighton is in 3A and Shelby is still in 2A.
That's going to be horrible.
That's dumb as shit.
Again, here's why I'll argue about the roster spots. Because Shelby, everyone, as far as that high school is in that area, is moving out of the town. Nobody's living in town anymore.
No.
So they're only recruiting they're only getting players from in town. But again, if you count boys, like Hunter said some states do, would be a better step than what we got. And then if you even did roster size, for example, Ashbrook sitting here in the 3A had the same number of football players as Bessemer City did last year in the 1A. They both had 25 football players on the roster. Ashbrook is going to be in the 3A. Shelby had 55 players on the roster last year. Again, Ashbrook 25, Shelby 25. And Ashbrook has 3 times more students. So you can count all the boys you want. If you ain't got them on the field, you can have 150 soccer players, Hunter, but if you ain't got no football players, it don't
doesn't
matter.
work. It
So
doesn't
you count
matter.
all the boys you want. So again, I think last year's roster size is where you should go.
Because I'm looking at the bottom part of these that you've done in
That's
3A.
the same thing last year
The
was.
bottom part, and I'm basically like, who outside of Crest, who's challenging Kings Mountain?
Right. That's the same exact conference they were in last year, except for South Point is moving up. So it hadn't changed anything
They
for them.
replaced what, RS Central,
No, ours was in the 2A.
or did they replace?
It was just them. It was just those 6.
No, I know you. Oh, so
They
South
I'm
Point. They just
adding
added South Point
Right. It was only 6 in that conference, I think.
because Ashbrook will get routed. I don't think South Point is nearly back to be able to compete. Kings Mountain, Kramer's not really that great. North Gaston, I don't even know why they still are in the 3A.
Because of students.
It
That's how
is.
all this is. It ain't got nothing to do about football skills. Remember, there's other sports beside football as well. So you got to play
I
on
know
these
that.
other sports as well. Again, we've talked in the past. Should there be separate football conferences than all the other conferences?
I don't see a problem with it.
I like it. I like that.
I don't see a problem with it.
And then you could do roster size. What about that?
It would have to go to roster size. That would be the only way you could
Football
do that.
only conferences by, and here's how they do. Hunter, what they're doing is they're doing this. They're taking the last 4 years because they change it every 4 years. So what they'll do is they'll take the last 4 years and then your average, and that's where these numbers are coming from. So they're averaging out these schools. I'm telling you, there's like 4 mathematical points that they're using. It's
They're
nuts.
averaging out school population size over the last 4 years, as if people don't move in
Right.
and move out.
But you got to use something. You got to have some type of barrier or barometer. Barometer.
Well, to me, hell, I don't understand why they don't just, we usually just go by regions when it comes to conferences, usually in the regions. I don't see why we don't just have, like, say the 3As, or say it is a mixed. It's a conference, but it's going to be a mix of 2A and 3A teams within Cleveland and Gaston County. Or Cleveland and Lincoln County, however you would want to do it. Because think about it, then you would have Shelby in the same conference as a Crest, as a Kings Mountain. It's just regional. It's not based off of your population size. There's nothing other than it's just regional. They don't look at population size and say, or school size and say, wow, that would be a great reason for you to be in my college football program.
The good news is they're going to go ahead and do an official East-West split. So before the season is whether you're in the East or West. The past 8 years, you don't know if you're in the East or West on the line. They take the so many best teams, and the argument was that when you don't take the so many best teams and the line moves, that if you have a set number of teams in the West, you're going to have worse teams that make the playoffs that deserve, or some teams that deserve to be in. But who cares if you're arguing about the 16th best
It's like the
team?
NFC East. Somebody's going to get. They won their conference.
Well, the West will have 45 counties with 216 schools. The East, Hunter, will have 55 counties, but only 209 schools. So the line looks like, guys, it's basically 2 counties right of Mecklenburg. So I can't see the picture. It's not zoomed in enough. Was that Union and Cabarrus that way? It's pretty much those are the dividing lines. I wanted to pull up the formula so y'all can see this mess. It is weird. I'm pulling up the 4A. So it don't really matter. I just want y'all to see the math that goes into this nuttiness. So Hunter, looking at these, I think that'd be interesting for us. Some of these teams are not going to be happy at all. The Highland Tech, these teams moving up in the 2A.
There can be some players that say, I ain't playing.
And then those guys moving up into the 3A. What's really going to be mad, like, if they don't separate them like I separate them and then do them another way, and you have Highland Tech in the same conference as Shelby.
That's going to be awful.
Like, So here's I'm going to pull it up on the screen for the people out there. Kevin Computer, where's my button? Here we go. There's the formula, Hunter. Projected ADM score, projected state cup score, whatever that is, projected ISP score, and projected realignment score. Does that mean anything to you?
No. What?
Analytics, guys.
So instead of just counting football players like I want to do, you got 50 or 3-8, they do this. Wild ass, whatever that is. You don't feel confident in that?
I think
in that formula?
I think this is going to be a very broad statement, but stay with me when I say this. I think we got idiots in the wrong places. You know what I'm saying? I think we got idiots doing in the wrong places.
I just think they're multiplying.
The idiots are multiplying?
Yeah, it's like minions. They're just popping up everywhere, and they're like the purple minions.
Oh, goodness. Oh, the evil?
Yeah.
Is that what they're for?
But but you know what I'm
Minions
saying?
movies.
Like, let me put it this way. I think we got some idiots that are in the, they don't need to be in power
in
at
charge.
certain places. They just, because what it is that whole thing that you just showed right there, they're trying to overcomplicate something that could just be so simple. It's just like anything that we've done this whole year during this whole COVID 2019 mess to 2020. You have overcomplicated it so much that you're just starting to look like idiots and asshats at this point.
So the way I like to put that, Hunter, I used to say American Legion used to do this. They'd get their committee of, because they have a committee.
Like college football.
Right. They'd have a committee of, let's say 10, I don't know the number. And they all come up with an idea. Mm-hmm. And then what was voted the worst idea is the one they go with. Because they don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings.
Probably.
Because remember, we're all about feelings nowadays.
Right.
So they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings by doing that. I think that's what they do. Let's do the worst idea.
I just don't, you showed me that, and I'm sitting here wondering, well, where did all these fucking numbers come from, first of all? And who was the smart guy in the room that literally said, no, this is how we should do it? Like, who literally took the time to sit there and think of this overcomplicated way to just set up high school conferences or high school classifications for sports? I don't get it. You overcomplicated something that could literally be so simple.
If I said two things, if I sent a letter down to the Athletic Association, I said put charters in their own and do the football team. Three things: do the football teams by roster size, and then do football only conferences.
That's probably so much easier than the little algorithm they had to do to get all those numbers.
Right. That's all you got to do. I think
that's all you have to do.
I should be the king of sports. The czar of sports.
I mean, I just don't understand. But see, here's the thing: that nobody comes to us for these ideas.
Chris, I don't know if I was counting varsity and or JV. No, I'm not counting the JVs. You have to put you have to register your official roster with the max preps. Now, if you wanted to count the JVs, I looked at some of the rosters last year. The average was anywhere from 20, 25 players on JV. So you can add those to if you wanted to. I'm not concerned about those.
They're developmental players. I'm not worried about them.
I'm not
Chris
really.
asked a
Some
question
schools don't
a
even
minute
have
ago
JV.
too, Kevin. Just pulled up our page. He said, with your idea, are you counting varsity and JV or just
That's what I
varsity?
just said out loud.
I missed that. I was reading comments, so I'm sorry. I was reading his
Zach,
comments.
I was about to say, damn, you just zoned out.
I
didn't you?
did. I was reading his comments. I went on our page to see if anybody commented. I didn't hear that. I was completely reading comments. So sorry, Chris. I was trying to get
Tom
you
do
answered
that
there.
like 2 weeks ago on the radio or something?
Sorry.
I think Tom did.
I think
I
he
just
did
had- I just
something
happened
like
to go to our page
we
to
had
read the
said something,
comments.
and he was saying it. It was like
He goes like, "Hey, you guys want Yes.
I
We
went to read
just
through
said
all the
that.
comments, and when you said that, I didn't hear you.
I don't know. You just like I
Sorry.
said, you got dumbasses in positions of power that are just trying to overcomplicate things that do not need to be overcomplicated. It is just classification of high school athletics.
Yeah,
That's
it
it.
shouldn't be
It
that hard.
should not. You do not need an algorithm that looks
I'll
like
say
you're
this.
trying to produce war. Okay.
I like to see competitive football games too.
Right.
Oh well, and just looking at this, you're not going to see much of it.
It's going to be horrible. I don't want to see.
Now listen,
I don't want to see Shelby play Highland Tech.
Highland Tech, Mountain Island. I'm just saying, if Lincoln Charter had a team, Community School of Davidson, Pine Lake Prep, fine, you can leave them all in a conference. Why is Bunker Hill and Newton? Bunker Hill might be down on their level, but Newton Conover, to me, I look at that if that's a conference on its own and say, well, they're the winner.
Put Bunker Hill and Bandy's in the
they're
same
the
conference.
winners.
Hunter, the reason
They're
I
not.
put,
They're just down the road from each other.
the reason I put Bunker Hill and Newton in that together is because geographically, it works better for them to be in that conference than
Well,
it does.
probably will,
with
and
Lincoln.
and guess what? They'll
'Cause
route
Lincoln and
everybody.
West Lincoln can get to Cleveland County. They're 40 minutes from East Lincoln. Lincoln is, isn't it? How far does it take for you to get out to work?
It takes me 42 minutes to get to East Lincoln.
Yeah. So they're
it's not
30,
bad. It's
30
not
minutes.
bad. I mean,
But again-
Cherville's been driving to the mountains to play people.
Right. So, but what I was saying is that Newton's kind of closer to those, and Newton's also Hunter. They're not a public. It's that city school.
Yeah, I know, it's a
so,
city- yeah,
So
it's
they've
city.
got a little bit different setup than the other public schools as well.
I'm just saying, but I'm just saying, looking at them from year past, history of looking at these teams, and they're just from name wise, I'll pick Newton Conover to win that for the next 5 years.
Yeah. If they field a team that they had this year, they definitely
The
will.
only one you have to watch for is if they recruit players.
Mountain Island.
Yeah. That's the only thing you'd have
Or
to
if
do.
Lincoln Charter gets a football team.
And they'll just recruit every good player in Lincoln County,
Hunter, I was told.
like they do in basketball already.
Well, as we get into college and finish this up, we're going to talk college sports now. But I was told yesterday, guys, that Gaston County is looking into starting sports. Gaston College, looking into starting sports now. So, like CVCC and Cleveland Community
okay.
JUCO Sports.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I think it
Gaston
would be
College
good
is
for
looking.
players that
They used to have a baseball team.
Well,
let's
it's
say-
big enough.
Well, let's say this. I think it would be good for players that might not score that well on the SAT,
Right.
that are very good football players that
There's
might not
no-
make a.
Now, I don't know if they're going to have football.
You
or
gotta,
no, right.
you gotta
They'll
look
probably
at
do
it.
baseball.
You gotta
and
look at it
some
this
stuff like
way
that
too.
first.
Is it a bad thing to have a sports team
It's
for
not
these
because
universities?
if you give them a
know how much-
scholarship, they're going to get to
Not
college.
listen, not just that. You know how much revenue these schools
Right.
make extra off of just sports teams? I mean, Gaston, put a basketball team in. I don't know. Put a foot or a baseball team. You don't have to have football for people to still come.
My thinking
If
was
Cleveland County, if Cleveland Community College gets a Yeti football team, that'll be the best JUCO football team might be in America.
call them the
Like,
Sasquatches.
seriously.
Call them the Bigfoots.
Well, they still would be the Yetis.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you might get in trouble with the Yeti brand, but
No, they're
Maybe
already
not.
called the Yetis.
That's
Are
their
they
name.
really?
Yeah,
I did not know
that's,
that.
That's the base.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
pull
the
that
baseball
up for
team.
Zach.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they're the Yetis.
Yeah, I'll pull up the team store here, buddy.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah,
great.
it's for real.
That's great.
Oh,
That's
they
absolutely
got the
awesome.
best logo around. Look at this, Zach. I'm gonna pull it up for you.
That's absolutely awesome. Didn't know that.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Learn something new every day.
Let me find my Kevin in.
I guess when they don't have a sports team, you don't ever know.
Look at this.
They have a baseball program now and a softball program.
Look at that logo.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the blue.
the blue Yeti. Hey, Tom said, Yetis aren't blue.
How do you know?
I said, well, how the hell you know? He said, I know they ain't blue. What do you think?
If he ain't never saw one, he don't know.
You don't know. Yetis. Yeah, they're Cleveland Community College Yetis.
Listen.
They got baseball.
They could be blue. You know why? Because we know on X-Men, Beast was blue.
Oh,
Hey, that's a good point. That is a good point. I'm gonna
Just because Beast is blue doesn't mean all the other things wasn't blue.
Also, the argument is also in nature the males are brightly colored in a lot of animals. So
Right, that
the
disgusting.
females could be brown and the kids, but the males are blue. So, but I mean, look, would you buy a Yeti? Would you wear a Yeti shirt?
Absolutely.
Look, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
listen, I have wondered because see when I was at, and I wondered this for everyone. I was at Central Piedmont. I don't think Central Piedmont has a single single sports,
Yeah.
and it is the largest community college in the state of North Carolina.
They would have the best. They would have the best dressed mascot there would be.
Surely they-
like a Yeti walking around on.
They've got one. Hey,
I
they've
mean,
already
is that
got it.
not
Yeah,
like?
they've got a Yeti already.
I mean, how awesome would
Yeah,
that
let me
be
pull
on the
him up for
sidelines?
Zach.
I mean, somebody needs to get this in like Division One. You know, where they're really, really good. You got the Sasquatch coming out on the field. That's awesome.
I'm gonna pull up the Yeti for Zach here on my screen.
Could you imagine the marketing they could have with the it's not the Slim Jim, whichever one the Bigfoot does. It ain't Slim Jim, is it?
It is Slim Jim.
No,
It's
it's-
Jack Links.
Jack Link?
God, they
Jack
could
Links.
mark it up with that, and they could make some major money.
I'm
seeing dollar signs, y'all.
I'm gonna get my Yeti.
Oh,
up.
we've sat here and we've told Gene we got ideas. You just got to come to us. All right.
I mean, that's
You just got to give us the credit.
Oh yeah. I mean,
well. Kevin's had ideas too, even in college, and he got a C on his.
we just
test
talked
for
about
having,
that earlier.
for having an idea that just got sold for millions of dollars.
$3 billion is Twitch. I'll never get over that. Well, I'm trying to put it up there, Hunter, but I can't find the. Here, I'm just gonna make one. I'm trying to pull it up for Zach, because I know I've got it here on my desktop. So this is the easiest thing to do, just pull it up. The Yeti of Cleveland Community College. But so there's their Yeti.
I mean,
This is their mascot, Zach. For the folks at
I mean,
home.
it's just like the guy from Monsters Inc. Sully.
Look at him.
There's his name.
That's good.
Name him Sully.
Oh,
Sully.
God.
Sully the Yeti.
I like it. I love it. So Gaston College is looking to do that. Nick Saban tests positive
Again,
for COVID-19. He will be not coaching this weekend. The college football playoff rankings came out, Hunter.
Oh, I know. I have a
Comments,
gripe to
suggestions?
make.
Oh, go ahead. Start griping.
I'll be honest, and people are going to think I'm crazy. Georgia does not deserve to be the 9th team in the nation.
how many losses they
They
have?
do not.
Have they got 2?
They've got 2
That's
losses.
what I thought.
In fact, Hunter, let me ask this.
In fact, do you know why I said that? Because they have BYU ranked 16th.
That's what I was about to ask.
An undefeated
14th.
or I'm sorry, 14th. An undefeated BYU team is 14th.
Hunter,
And 2-loss Georgia is 9th.
Georgia, Oklahoma,
You probably already talked about this. But
and Iowa State
Have
all
2
have
losses.
2 losses in front of BYU, Oregon, USC. When you see a USC team undefeated and ranked below 2-loss teams, I know they've only played 3 games. North Carolina, what the hell did that happen? They weren't even ranked in the coaches and
They were.
25th in the coaches and not ranked in the AP. They're 19th ahead of Coastal and Marshall. Auburn at 5-2. So should any 2-loss teams, Hunter, be ahead of any undefeated
No.
teams? I can see the argument
No.
with 1, but once you lose 2,
No,
okay.
there should not. I will be okay with the 1-loss teams into at least Texas A&M and Florida.
Okay.
A&M lost to Alabama. Guess what? You were kind of expected to lose that game.
you know,
Florida lost to A&M, who only lost was to
have no
was to Alabama. I understand that, but and Clemson, I get it. They lost to the number 2 team in the nation, Notre Dame, and I think we can all sit here and say Clemson probably is one of the 4 best teams in the country.
and Clemson didn't have their quarterback.
When fully healthy, yes. But
you
all
still
these
lost.
you still lost. But all these 2-loss teams in front of these undefeateds is really horse shit.
Well, and
I
I'll say this
can't
too.
say it any other way. That is a crock of horse shit.
I was, I know y'all guys on this.
Let's
Especially
let-
9-0.
Hey,
9 wins.
What we need to do is we need to cut this, tag the college football playoff committee in Twitter, and just like spam them with it, and say
At
it's just
least-
horse shit.
I'll say y'all might have already talked about this too. You
ahead.
might not have, but I think we always want Indiana to beat Ohio State.
Well, probably.
And
I pull for all the big teams to lose.
I was really surprised that they didn't drop Indiana. I thought they shouldn't go lower than 11. They put them at 12. I was surprised they didn't drop them way lower.
Well,
I was hoping that Indiana was going to
Who's
come back and
Oklahoma
win that
lost
game.
to?
Oklahoma has lost to. I'm pretty sure they lost to. They lost a bad one.
Texas?
Oklahoma, no, I think Oklahoma beat Texas.
They did beat Texas.
But Indiana with 1 loss is to Ohio State.
Yes,
Oklahoma's are worse, right? And
Oh,
they've
yeah,
got 2 losses.
I think that. Yeah, one
They haven't
of
got
them-
beat by anybody as good as Ohio State,
And
right?
I'm looking, where's
No,
Oklahoma
no.
ranked?
Yeah, Oklahoma's ranked like 11th.
Yeah,
I'm looking at.
They're 11th
I got
in
them
the
at 11
BCS.
on mine for mine.
yeah, they're 11.
Why? I've got Northwestern at 11th.
What are you looking at, the sheet or the internet?
Look at internet.
Okay, yeah, they're 11 on the internet.
Okay.
You're looking at the AP poll.
Yeah, you're right.
We're looking at the college football rankings poll came out. You don't look at that sheet. You can look on the internet. Just look at the one that says college football playoff rankings, not the AP.
Okay.
The AP is voted on. This is the
Okay. College football playoff.
Well, you know what? Regardless, I think we can all sit here and say whether I know exactly
I'm with y'all
whether I know exactly who Oklahoma lost to or not, because I know they do have 2 losses.
They're not as good as
a loss to Ohio State.
This
if you just look at it this way.
This is the one they put the percentage point, like 670 or whatever it is.
Yeah. So
should Northwestern be ahead of Ohio State right now?
No, not right now. I know it's crazy.
Haven't they beat better teams?
We've talked about this, yes, but I think between me and you, we could argue yes, Northwestern should be ranked.
Yeah.
Is it going to happen? No.
And I will
But
say this.
if Northwestern, all they have to do, because they're only playing 8 games, what are they, 5-0 right now? 4-0, 5-0?
5.
So guess what? They only have 3 more games. If they just win out and go into that Ohio State game undefeated and they beat Ohio State, then guess what? And Ohio State only has 1 loss then at the time. Ohio State's kicked out to me. Absolutely not.
And
they're going to get a chance to play them.
Your diaper dandies, number 7, Cincinnati.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They're going to sit, and what's going to be bad is they're going to sit there. Nobody's going to give them any love. Cincinnati's going to sit there.
You
and
gotta
all they're
see who
going
they
to
got
do,
left on their schedule.
and all
They
they're
have
going to do is
anybody
win.
This credible to help them get popped up, but you did say
Zach,
they had a good quarterback. So I have not seen him play.
I do like him a lot. He's really raw. But Zach, I keep making this argument week after week. If all you ever tell these teams to do is win, and all they're doing is win, why do you not give them the gratification that they need?
That's why I like.
You've been saying that since the bowl series.
They tried the best they could to get them in a playoff, but they'll never get to March Madness. March Madness is does that make sense? Like the teams that might not get the love that the Carolinas, the Dukes get when they get March Madness, we can see like the mid majors how really good they are.
All right, you're right. Carolina and Duke don't make sweet Final Four every year.
I like what we do here. I like what we do here.
But Alabama makes the Final Four every year.
On this, but
So you see, it just ain't right.
Right.
They're trying to expand it, but
you see what I'm saying though? I like what we do here, but for argument's sake, I would be fine even with 8. I would I would be fine with 8, and the reason why I say that is because you at least get your 5 qualifiers. Your automatic bids would be your 5 Power 5 teams, which is what everybody wants anyways in the Final Four is a Power 5 team. So you would get 5, and then you just get your 3 at-larges.
I'm okay with even more than that, and I'm okay with dropping.
I mean, I'm fine with our 16
season games down to get more teams in the playoff.
They usually play 12. 2 or 3 of them are usually non-conference. Usually non-conference. I'd be fine with them playing only 1 non-conference game, and then you're at 10. Because if you play 9 conference games, you're at an even 10. You cut the 2 extra little non-conferences off. There you go, and then you just add more games into the playoff.
If you can play the amount of games they play in the NFL,
championship game, whatever,
and then they play the amount of games they possibly could. Is it 5 to get all the way through?
The most you could play would be 20
in NFL. So if we put them up to 15 or 16, I don't have a problem with that. Because how many weeks do they take off until,
about a month? They go home for Christmas, and they come back and practice and all of that. Folks wondering what we're showing online. For our listeners, we like to put together. This is our KTC bracket, and in our bracket, the top 5 Power Conference winners get the top 5 seeds. The Power Conference second place teams get the next 5, and then finally, the final 6 spots are from the Group of 5 champions. That's 11 through 15 are the seeds, and then 16th goes to an independent. So right now, here's our brackets. 1 Alabama would be hosting BYU. 8 Florida would host Iowa State. 4 Oklahoma would host Coastal Carolina. Now, the Alabama and Florida winners would be playing each other.
Yeah.
Coastal would be at Oklahoma. Marshall at Oregon. The winner of those would play each other. On the other side of the bracket, Notre Dame would be hosting new to our bracket, Hunter.
Buffalo.
Not the Bills.
The Bulls.
The Buffalo Bulls.
Wow.
Notre Dame hosting the Buffalo Bulls. The winner of that game would face Ohio State at the 7 seed, Hunter. Because right now they're second place in the Big Ten.
Yep. To Northwestern.
Hosting USC. And then the final part of the bracket, Northwestern would get the 3 seed. against the Nevada Wolfpack, and Clemson would get the 6th seed versus the Bearcats. So there's a lot of cats in that area, in that side of the bracket, and then the Wolfpack. But we just do this for fun. But this is kind of our way of saying, people are like, well, Clemson should be 6. Well, if you're second in your conference, where do you think you should be? Like again, Hunter, when you do the playoffs with 4 teams, right? And there's 5 power conferences.
Yeah.
Well, how shitty is the East Coast bias for the Big 12 and Pac-12? Like, you have to go undefeated in those conferences to get in, or
because it's Big
hope
10,
the other one does.
It's ACC, Big 10, and SEC.
I'll get at least one. At least one. ACC only gets one. Here's what it is. ACC gets one. Big 10 gets one. SEC gets 1.5. They get 2 if Alabama's not the champ. Am I right about that?
You're right.
That's the rules.
Listen,
ACC gets 1. Big 10 gets 1. Pac-12.
I want you to
Big
think
12
about it.
split 1, unless Alabama's second in the SEC.
The college football playoff has started.
Yeah.
There have been 3 teams that have been in it every single year. Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson. I want you to think about that.
And Ohio State, they all get a default position because Ohio State hadn't played all year and they've stayed. Where they, and they finally played Indiana. They're a good football team, but
what was we looking at as far as the recruiting? Were like 25 stars and 15 of them were at Clemson. There's only like 25 stars in the whole ACC,
and like 17 of them are at Clemson.
Right.
So do the math. Where are the rest of them?
So when Dabo gets on there and starts, and here's what my problem with college coaches when we talk about how a great coach. Well, is Dabo?
You give him the best talent.
I was about to say, if those 15 players switched and went to North Carolina, would he still win the ACC?
No.
And that's okay. You can call him a great recruiter. You can call Saban a great recruiter. But are they really that great coaches, as in football coaches? Because you're coaching the best players. Like, that's what I don't get. If Saban wants a challenge, you don't go to Alabama. You go to Duke. You go to South Carolina. At least Spurrier had the balls and gall to go to South Carolina.
And he was successful.
He did decent.
Right.
He was successful at South Carolina.
At least he did that.
And he got some players.
But to sit here at Alabama or Ohio State or wherever, one of these same schools with 10 to 15 5-star athletes, knowing when you walk on the field, that's like when Shelby plays, RS Central or something. We basically have more players than you. Mm-hmm. And that's how that's going to work out.
Or when the team walks out and their second string can beat your first string, there's a problem.
But I'll be honest with you though, I don't necessarily know how good this Ohio State team is.
You know what to even all that out? Paying the players.
I'll say this.
Oh, I know that. We talked about
because
that.
then those 15 guys would be sitting at Clemson.
And
they got enough money for them.
You know how good Ohio State is. What was telling for me, they didn't score in the second half this past week.
No, they didn't.
They did
Indiana had a comeback on them. They had a comeback.
I was hoping Indiana was
Justin
make
Fields
it
threw 3 picks, and so what I'm saying though is there is no parity. There is no parity.
What?
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying there is no parity in college football.
No.
There's none. And I'll use the term. And people can say, well, Hunter, you're one of them too, but I'll use the term elitist. It is. I like watching Georgia football. I do, but
they're going to be stacked at running back
every
year.
We know, I know what they are. But Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma, Oregon at this point, every year you could have flipped a coin. Or not even flipped a coin. You wouldn't have even had to know. You wouldn't even have to know what any team has, what any of those players are on their team. How am I trying to word this? Essentially is you could just throw a dart and you could nail the top 4 or 5 teams going into next year. And you could nail who was going to be the first 4 in the college football playoff when the committee came
this
out.
Year. Don't you
we
remember?
did that. I mean,
Zach, I said I'm going to name the top 10.
Closed his
Don't
eyes.
show me the thing,
I remember.
and I can name them because
you don't have.
And
to,
I'm not even a fan, and that's why I don't like this. I don't like this.
You
sport.
don't
I
have
actually
to.
watched
Don't
that
have to
episode.
know the
I think it
college.
was on Saturday.
You don't have to know the coach. Don't have to know who the quarterback is. Don't have to know who the players are. But you can guess who is going to be there. Like think about it.
Horrible.
If I would have told you, if I would have asked you at the beginning of the year, you could probably have named me 3 out of the 4 teams that were going to be in this playoff. I would have asked you. I said, "Well, who's going to make the college football playoff this year?"
Ohio State, Alabama.
That's exactly right.
And now
we might throw Georgia in. You could throw somebody else in
before the season.
But now Notre Dame's the only outlier. But even then, you could have said,
I
"Oh, well,
have said Notre Dame.
They'll compete."
But I could have said Georgia before the season started.
It's become, for me as a Georgia fan, it gets exciting because I know I have a chance. But if you're one of these other schools, it's just at this point You just got to
Okay.
pray to God you win your conference. That's it.
If you're Alabama and you have 2 losses, you have a chance to get in still.
Yes,
That's what's so crazy.
If you're North Carolina and have 1 loss,
you're done.
you're out.
unless you're the ACC champion, and that's the
Yeah.
only thing that happens.
But even
But
then,
if North Carolina has 2 losses, no way.
no way. Which says what they have. They have 2 losses.
Right.
Say North Carolina wins out, beats Miami and Notre Dame. They will never get anywhere close to the top 10. No. No.
And
Because at Georgia, I don't think loses again. They'll be a 2-loss. Cincinnati, I don't think loses. I don't think BYU loses.
Coastal
that
Carolina?
is the one Coastal, but the one that is getting the biggest shaft out of all of this, and I'm not of Mormon faith. I do not root for the school, but it is BYU. BYU is getting the biggest shaft out of this. They have played the most games in college football. They've won every single one of them. They are 9-0. What more do you want? Now, if I'm BYU, I'm picking the phone
I'll
up
say
and
this.
saying, Washington, do you still want that game?
Same thing's been
Washington's playing
happening.
somebody else now.
It was for years, and it's
Somebody
not as
else lost
much
the game.
now as it used to be. But TCU used to be falling out every year. You remember when
Well,
they were good?
part of the Mountain West.
But that's when they had
And-
Dallas Cowboys quarterback too.
They
Yeah.
would run. Well, even before that, they
Andy
run it.
Dalton.
Yeah,
He
they-
beat
Did Thompson
Wisconsin.
go there?
No,
that were-
Tom.
That's where
Was it
Tomlinson
Thomason?
went.
Was it Thomas? I was
Yeah,
thinking you were saying.
LT was
I thought
from-
you said
LT played at
Peterson.
TCU.
But they were fifth, sixth
Oh, I
every
know.
year, and they didn't have a playoff.
Boise State was the same way when Kellen Moore was there. They would get close, but they would never make it. TCU, that was before they had the college football. No, I don't. That was before the college football playoff came about. It was still BCS. So the highest bowl that they got, TCU, was the Rose Bowl, and that's when Andy Dalton went out there and beat Wisconsin.
Zach, did you lose internet?
And if
I did.
if anybody
I
wants
pulled down
to
my-
wants to look around and say these small schools probably don't have a chance, well, hell, TCU probably a lot of people didn't think had a chance beating Wisconsin, and guess what? You matched them up and they won. So that's why, to me, with you leaving an undefeated Cincinnati on the outside looking in, you've got BYU at 14 just because you don't give them credibility for who they've played. Well, who the hell are you to know how they're going to play when they match up one-on-one with a Clemson or an Ohio State or an Alabama? You don't, because those teams won't play them.
College football fans know more about anything than anyone else in the world.
And I love college football because I still think it's good football. I love just to watch it anyways. But when it comes down to who's going to play for a championship, for me, no lie, because I am still, as a Tar Heel fan, I would just be happy if we won the ACC championship. You know why? Because I know we're not going to we don't have an opportunity to play for a national championship.
All right, Hunter. Well, I meant to show this earlier. I'm not going to be long on it. I just wanted to show you what I'm going to do for this week. I haven't eliminated a team yet this week. I'm going to eliminate them after tomorrow. So 2 things about
Yes.
tomorrow. Pittsburgh and Baltimore has been moved to Sunday. But the reason we're waiting until tomorrow, Hunter, is
Washington and Dallas.
yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the loser of that one. I've thought about getting rid
Are
of
they
all.
playing each other tomorrow?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
One of them's going to be 3-8.
You know, I hate to be
And
so
one game out
excited
of
for a
first.
Washington Dallas game, but on Thanksgiving,
That's a good game.
it is a good game. I don't care if they both suck.
They do.
They do.
A lot of questions.
Dallas played good last week, though.
And I'll say this, as
Dallas
a
played
Washington
good last
fan,
week.
I don't necessarily think we're going to win the game.
Dallas played good
Dallas
last week.
played
Andy
good.
Dalton played really
Dallas
good.
played good against a bad defense, though, with Minnesota. They're getting ready to play a good
So
defense.
Zeke,
We're the number
He had
one.
100.
We
Wait a
are
minute.
the number one rated pass defense in the NFL.
Zeke is 6th in attempts, but 34th in yards per carry.
He did have
dang.
100
So,
last
like-
week for
like
the
he's
first
not-
time in a while.
He's got a little donut on him.
Yeah, I think
He ain't moving good.
He's been doing too much of this.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, you give somebody $30 million or whatever you're going to give them. They're
He's gonna eat well.
Yeah. So I'm going to eliminate either Dallas, Washington tomorrow, and then watch Philadelphia.
Who
go
else
lose
is the
this
game
weekend.
tomorrow?
Detroit and somebody.
And who
Well,
does
Detroit got
play?
shut out by
Panthers, ain't it?
Panthers last week. No,
Yeah,
that
they
was
got-
this
they
week.
got-
20 nothing.
Yeah.
We didn't even have our starting quarterback.
I would.
But we did have PJ. Not PJ Walker. What's his name?
Yes,
was it
PJ
PJ Walker?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because Manny's like, who is he? I'm like, he was the MVP of the
XFL.
XFL. I was excited.
Listen, when he threw that deep ball
Oh, it
down
was
the line,
beautiful, wasn't it?
it was beautiful. But I had to go to Twitter and remind people this is why you should, if you're the NFL, you would wrap your arms around the XFL. You make your revenue off of that as well, but you get not just stories like this, but the guys that have been picked up by these NFL teams that were XFL players, they've actually produced.
You know why I like PJ Walker being on our backup? Because he is very similar to Teddy Bridgewater.
He's Doug Flutie.
And they put him in. He was very
He's
small.
Doug
Did you
Flutie.
see-
Yeah, he's like 5'10".
Teddy
Zach.
Bridgewater.
He is small.
Teddy Bridgewater's small.
Teddy Bridgewater's small in build.
Skin. Yeah, I think he's like
Teddy's
6'2",
like
isn't he?
tall.
Yeah.
He's at least 6'2", 6'3".
But,
But
he played good.
have you seen Teddy's calves?
Teddy's, yeah.
He
Teddy
looks
looks
like
like
Lord.
Kevin Durant.
I'm afraid.
he's second in the league in the completion percentage.
Yes, he's very efficient.
I told y'all at the beginning of the season I liked it because if we're going to have a quarterback that can throw the football.
I was going to pull up stats, but our wireless internet is just gone
Yeah,
out. None
He
of
just
us have
shut
it
the
right
I'm
now.
using my phone right now.
So we're running hooked into the wall perfectly. But I was gonna say, I guess I could pull up some stats here. The thing about Cam has Zach. Yeah, their record's 4-6, right? So they've played 10 games. Have you seen how many touchdowns he's thrown?
I think it was 2 when I saw it
4.
last time. He maybe threw one last
He's
week,
thrown
but I was thinking it
4.
was 2, and he had like 3 times the interceptions that he had touchdowns.
It's 4-7 right now. What quarterback
That's
after
horrible.
10 games you have 4 touchdowns you're going to leave in the game, and we don't even talk like it's a possibility.
4.
But you know where that ranks? 34th. Like he is 34th in touchdowns.
And there's how many starting quarterbacks in the NFL?
There's only 32 teams. He started every game, hadn't he? Did he miss one? Did he miss one?
He missed one because of COVID.
So he's played 9
it was
games.
the Seattle game, I believe.
In 9 games,
That was
he
the one
has
after.
in 9 games he has 4 touchdown passes. Here's who else has 4 touchdown passes in the NFL. Andy Dalton, he's played 5. Kyle Allen, he's played 4. Dwayne Haskins has played 4 games, has the same number of touchdowns as Cam Newton.
Should have played.
Maybe that's why Ron Rivera didn't want him, Hunter.
That's exactly why.
He just benched a guy who has got the same numbers as Cam.
There's a guy that I used
Hold
to
on,
work-
Zach.
Oh,
Never
go
mind.
ahead,
That's,
go ahead.
that's all the force. Go ahead.
There was a guy I used to work with, and he was having a coronary because they got rid of Cam. It's like, he's so disrespected. Da, da, da. I'm like, dude, he's horrible. And now I can just grin at him, you know?
Yeah.
When, I'll text him. I'm like, dude, you see what we're talking about?
Alex
he's
Smith has
absolutely
got 2.
horrible.
I mean, even Alex Smith has 2 touchdowns.
But he's played, what, 4 games?
Jeff Driscoll has 3.
Yeah.
Some people throw 4 in one game.
So Cam has thrown 170 more passes than Kyle Allen.
Not
and
to
has
mention,
the same number of touchdowns.
He's supposed to have the offensive guru as his offensive coordinator.
The next game he loses, his overall record goes to 500. Exactly, Cam. He's about to get into. He's the overall losing record in his career.
He's always played. He's always been bigger, stronger, faster than everybody's played till he's got to this level. He held his own until his athletic and health ability has went away, and now guess what? This is what you had.
I got that wrong. It wasn't one game. It was something else I was adding up. I want to make sure he's 12 from that. I'm wrong on that.
Listen.
I hated to
Something else I
watch a
was looking
football
at.
come out of his hands.
Cam's problem for me has always been I thought he was not coachable. And the reason why is because you went. What is he, year 9 now in the league? All these years, 5, 6, 7 years in the league, you're still throwing off that back foot.
Mm-hmm.
You still have your accuracy problems. And that's the one thing I've tried to explain to people about why I was so high on Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming. They were like, there's no way, he's so inaccurate. He only completed like just under 60% of his passes in college. I said, well, what's the one thing? They cannot teach you your strength. You just work on it by obviously lifting. They can't teach you your size. You just grow to be however big you are. Your athleticism, you can't teach, but you can work on it. What can they teach you? Timing, and you can work on your mechanics to become accurate. And that's why he's gotten so much better, and Cam has just seemed to...
In that draft, he had the potential to be the best quarterback Josh Allen did. Remember you was talking about it?
I said I would take
Of
Josh
all
Allen at
4.
1.
He said he had the potential. And you know what? It might just pan out.
Listen.
Let me ask you what you do real quick. Comparably, this is who I think Allen reminds me of. You can tell me I'm crazy. Probably.
Josh Allen is a young Cam Newton.
But the way he runs and has an arm, he don't run. They don't call. They ran plays for Cam. They ran
I know
a running
that.
offense for that.
I used to say, and people would be like, "Oh, well, that's racist." But no, Josh Allen, I thought coming in, how he played was a white Cam. He was just so athletic and had a huge arm, but he's worked on his accuracy.
And the name I'm about to say to Zach, he's going to say that kind of sounds like what he's talking about. John Elway.
He was a good runner, good passer.
He ran for a long time in his early years, and he had a cannon. And his early years, he wasn't too smooth as far as
Great
completion
numbers
percentage.
and touchdowns.
But
Either.
he
I think
did
he
get
was
the
in the
touchdown.
mid-20s, 25, 26, 27 a year, which, back then.
Well,
Are you pulling him up? Is that
right,
what
I'm
you're
gonna
doing?
pull Elway up real quick.
Pull up. I mean, I don't think he was throwing but 20 touchdowns a year. 25.
7 touchdowns, 14 picks first year, 18 and 15, 22 and 23, 19 and 13, 19 and 12, 17 and 19,
Not
18
great
and
numbers.
18, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10 and 17. He didn't have a good ratio until 93. When he was 33 years old, Elway didn't have a
And
single good touchdown to
If
interception
you remember him
ratio
getting drafted, he
until
was
his 33 years old.
he was one of the biggies come out that year.
Right, he was number 1, I think.
Was he number 1 that year?
John Elway, I think he was.
Did
1-1.
Marino slide to 25 or 26 then? Because one of them dropped, and Marino might have been.
First overall in the 1983 draft by the Baltimore Colts.
He got drafted by the Colts.
Forced his way out to Denver. But when you look at those touchdowns, like you just said, Zach, it's not that impressive until you get to age 30-something. When, guess what happened?
He got
a
Terrell
running
Davis.
back. When was Cam at his best? When he had 2,000-yard rushers on his team.
And think
Jonathan
about
Stewart,
it. If you
D'Angelo
put,
Williams.
and what? I think Josh Allen's only in his 3rd year.
Right.
He's already like 2nd or 3rd in the league in touchdown passes.
Hunter, he reminds me so much of him. He honestly does.
I'm telling you,
that arm is John Elway.
He's special, and people, I hear Colin talk about him all the time. He's like, he kind of scares me, but the coaching staff is working with him. That's fine. People get
He's
technically
only been out, what, 2 years?
I'm about to say technically he's still a baby.
Just 3rd year.
He's a baby. He's a 3rd year,
That-
and he's already producing what he is. Just imagine if he gets better.
he'll
Elway's
get better.
last 6 years were better than his first 10.
And again,
What if it takes 10 years for John? Think about it. We cut Haskins or whatever after 7 starts.
Yeah.
Elway had 10 years to get his shit together.
I mean, just imagine.
Yeah, he went to 2 or 3 Super Bowls and lost, but still.
oh, they got smoked.
They got smoked in all the
they
Super
got smoked.
Bowls.
I'll never forget it. And I think it was the year your dad didn't want to have the Super Bowl party up there because it was Washington and Denver, and we had it up at the.
But you know why? And Colin spoke on this today. I was coming down. He was talking
It
with
was
the general.
great.
He was talking with the ex-general manager / scout,
Look,
and the
52 to 10.
scout said these quarterbacks are just coming out and they're ready. A lot of the times. That's why if you draft one and he just doesn't work out after like the first 7 or 8 games, you can just dump him because you're like, well, the guy coming out next year's ready.
And that even throws up. I know we're on, but how bad do you feel for Burrow?
Well, give me a
That's
sec.
horrible.
Give me a sec on that.
Horrible.
Let me finish some
Yeah, go ahead.
stats
Go ahead.
on Elway. Looking at his first 9 years, Zach, he didn't have a quarterback rating over 80 but one time in his career.
He'd be eaten alive today for that.
But listen to his last 6 years: 92, 85, 86, 89, 87, 93. Like his last 6 years are completely different than his first 10.
Hey.
Everybody thinks that he was good his first 10 years.
Maybe
He's
he-
actually better his last 6.
Maybe he was on steroids.
Elway got on steroids. Their defense is what kind of carried them early on. He never had a running game early on. And then one final thought on the completion
You
percentage.
could say the same thing
He
about.
didn't complete 60% until he was 33.
You can say the same thing though about Terry Bradshaw. He never had great passing numbers, but they won Super Bowls.
He had
Well,
that
they had the
steel
best
curtain.
D-damn defense in the world. Hunter, you was talking. What was the last thing I was just saying?
He said Joe
Burrow.
Burrow. Does that not remind you and look exactly like Carson Palmer?
Or
Andre didn't remember the play, but it
that
was Carson
It was
Palmer.
on the same spot.
Right, about the 5-yard line or wherever it was.
Because I'm
threw it
going,
deep.
you can't make this up.
No, it looked just like Carson Palmer.
Nightmare if you're a Bengal fan. And it also reminded me of Tom Brady.
When he hurt. Did he hurt like that?
2000 and
When Castle come in and played for him the
Good
rest
thing
of the
about
year.
Burrow, he's still got 15 years.
Matt Castle
Oh,
came in
if
and
he's
played
still
for
good
him.
enough.
It was the year after they got
But
beat in the Super Bowl.
Did you not see that?
08.
Did you see that they came out and said the knee injury is a whole lot worse than what they thought?
Yeah, and they're not
ACL,
talking about it.
ACL, MCL, and looks
That's
like
Teddy
ligament
Bridgewater, ain't
damage.
That's also
Ain't that
Dante
Teddy Bridgewater
Culpepper.
type?
Yeah,
stuff.
but I don't think that's nearly as life threatening.
Well,
as
his was
Terry
life
has
because
Teddy's
he
was.
did torn
Culpepper
some
had something
vessels
similar.
and stuff. Right.
Listen,
It bothers me
listen,
because
I
he's
hate
playing
that.
so good.
I hate that because I felt like Joe Burrow, with as much of a shit team as he had already, was playing phenomenal. And so I was just thinking, wow, could you really imagine if they actually start to get pieces around him, what he could be?
It's always the one where they fall into your leg in the front.
Oh yeah, and
It never
it
fails.
bends
Your plant leg,
the wrong way. You know,
Never fails. I saw it and I was like, that ain't good.
Yeah.
But did you also see Chase Young light him the hell up on that one play? Jesus Christ, he made him fumble. He had the piss out of him. We got a stud, ladies and gentlemen.
I knew he was the best player.
That's the only thing I'm happy about.
He's
in
the best
Washington.
defense. You know what? Burrow was going to probably win. He was probably going to win Rookie of the Year. Chase Young is going to be really. He's going to be really good.
I think the one that wins Rookie of the Year is Justin Jefferson from
I tell
Minnesota.
you what, too. Somebody was saying this the other day. It was talking about Tua and Herbert, and how Miami
Actually,
wished they would have picked
dude,
Herbert.
Justin Herbert
He's
could
playing
win
great.
it. He could win it now. I just feel bad for Joe. I think Joe has got
Hunter,
a
what's your
really
play?
special opportunity.
Let me back up. I know people at home can't see but he throws it about the 10-yard line. Yeah, he threw it from the 6-yard line. Beautiful pass. It's caught.
Who was this?
That was the Carson Palmer injury.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it's like a 60-yard pass, and everybody's looking at the pass.
Yep,
and
and
they
he's
look back,
down.
and there's Carson Palmer laying on the ground. And here's the play, Hunter. Does that look like what happened to Burrow?
Yes.
I mean, it's almost the exact same play. Except those two guys, I think, but who cares? Either way, he got hit in that plant leg, and boom. That was like the first play of the game.
That's why they have started
Wasn't
the
that a
rule.
Super Bowl year too, Zach? Didn't they make Super Bowl that year or win it?
That was a playoff game.
Since 2016. Yeah, it was round 1 of 2016.
Listen,
I went to that.
that is why
It was
the
03.
NFL,
That's when it was posted.
That is why the
2006.
the
Was it
NFL
06?
That's why the NFL has implemented the rules of not hitting quarterbacks low. That's exactly why they've done it.
Oh yeah,
That's
hundreds of $1 million right there.
Yeah, gone in an instant.
In a knee.
In a knee.
All right, looking at the poll real quick.
Because think about it, they really aren't looking to even try and protect themselves. Their eyes are
No,
downfield.
no.
They have no idea.
You're throwing the ball. You're just stepping and throwing. All right, so Miami got knocked out, and Baltimore got knocked out of the playoffs this week. Tennessee and Cleveland jumped back in to the playoffs. Philadelphia is sitting there at 3-6-1 in the 14 spot.
At
as
Dark
the
Horse
NFC.
is sitting there at 5.
Who is it?
Be careful.
I can't see.
That defense caught. Aaron Rodgers was
Yeah,
able to move the ball good, but when they needed to, that defense
I'm a
stepped
Phillip
up.
Rivers fan, so I don't have a problem with that at all.
I like Phillip Rivers a lot. And I think the only thing that's keeping him fringe Hall of Fame wise is a Super Bowl. So if he was to get it, he's automatically.
I don't
in
think
to
they
me.
can win the Super Bowl.
No, I don't think they can, but I think
I
they
don't
can.
think
I
they
think
come
they
out
can.
of the, I don't think they come out of the AFC.
What do you mean?
I don't think they can win the AFC.
The South? The AFC South or the whole AFC?
The whole AFC.
No, I get that. I don't think they make the Super Bowl. I think they win a playoff game.
Pittsburgh and Kansas City is just too good.
I think Kansas City still wins it.
City's-
Kansas City has been my pick from the beginning, and really, if you
Something
ask
off
me,
about them. Do you not feel that way? Like
no.
There's sometimes that
But-
they
and
don't
do you- and
play
do you
as
know
good
why?
as they are.
And do you know why? It's because of that statement right there. They might not play as good as they are, but they still win. Can
They
you,
can
can
score
you
so
imagine?
quickly.
Can you imagine a game where they have their shit together
Oh, yeah.
all 4 quarters?
There's something.
Who's
there's something-
playing with them?
There's something. Maybe it's the Andy Reid factor because I like Andy Reid, but there's something he always put these teams out that could score a lot. They get there and they just
I'm
something
telling
didn't
you.
happen.
I'm telling you. Kansas City, personally, if they match up with Pittsburgh, I think Kansas City wins it. I do. Something about Kansas City. They are a matchup nightmare for anybody. They really are. The only person to me that is a matchup nightmare for Pittsburgh is Chase Claypool. He's come out of nowhere. That's because if you look at him, he's a big body
Tell you
freak.
the biggest surprise on that list right there is the Rams.
You talk. Let me go back up
They're
there.
4.
The Rams have got, if I'm not mistaken, the third or second best defense in
Yeah,
the
they
league.
got one of the best defenses. So
Hey,
that's
last
why
year-
I've got Rams and Colts where they are.
Last year they were kind of
Their defense is
pretty
starting to show
boy
up.
kind of a team. This year they're more of a blue collar.
They run the ball really good. But
so-
they didn't really against Tampa Bay, but it didn't matter. Their defense kept them in that game.
Right. So when you look at this from 4 through pretty much the Bucks at 11, everybody's 7-3. So how did I separate the teams?
Probably defense.
I did. That's what it was. Cleveland, Tennessee, and Bills are in that exact order in defense on the defensive points. Packers are not that great, but again, of those 4 teams, they probably got the best quarterback.
Packers come out one week and look great, and the next week they look like
they're
they laid an
right
egg.
in the middle of the pack on D. But the Colts and Rams got top 5, 6 defenses.
I'll tell you what, though.
So obviously,
I think
Pittsburgh
Green
does.
Bay and Pittsburgh, to a degree, their schedules really help with what you see with them.
I still
Pittsburgh really hasn't played anybody tough. Baltimore, they
I was about to
did.
say, they got the best division in football except maybe
Balti-
the West.
Baltimore,
NFC West.
Baltimore played them really tight, but even Pittsburgh had no problem with Cleveland. That's just always going to be a big brother, little brother thing. So Pittsburgh kind of just
Like that's
looks.
a psyche
Yeah,
thing.
that's a psych. That's a mental thing, at least for now.
Didn't we beat them last year? I know that's without Big
It was
Ben.
probably with Duck Hodges in.
Yeah, no, you remember
I
when
like
we beat
it.
when we
Oh,
when,
when you
when,
when you
when Myles
physic-
Garrett was
when you
assaulted?
physically
No, that was
beat
horrible.
Mason
when Myles
Rudolph.
Garrett was assaulted
Okay.
by the Steelers.
Okay.
And I do like the number. I'll still stick with that number 12.
Oh, you like
Mr.
Ravens?
Gruden.
And next year, the next is their years, not this year.
They
I
was
like
holding
next
their
year
own
the next.
They're
earlier with
close.
the Kansas City.
Now, they're close.
They beat Kansas City earlier in the year, and they
They
held
did.
their own in this game.
They did.
I'll
You're
have-
right.
I'll
They're
have to talk
close.
about 'em
I
next
think
year.
I think Oakland is on the rise. I do.
Your top 5 defenses in yardages: Rams, Colts, Saints, Steelers, and Bucks.
Out of all
in
the
yardage.
teams though that Kevin had grayed out, there are 2 of them that I think are at least on the rise. Carolina,
Carolina's
definitely on the rise, and
Burns is a beast.
New York. This is crazy.
And don't leave
But
them
Dan-
Chargers out.
All right. Well, I didn't really think we was going to talk this much about the football, but I didn't mean to. But I do got one. I did want to get one other question for you guys before we go. Browns.
They're in trouble
Well, hold on.
because of the division.
Let's say that's what I'm talking about. Baker Mayfield is what I want to talk about.
I think he's there.
He's 15-7, 7-3. Again, I'm one of those people that like I don't get rid of your Super Bowl MVP. I don't change my uniforms if you're the Rams after winning the Super Bowl. When you win with something, you keep it. This is bad voodoo, me saying this. But Hunter, if they look to move on from him, if they end up blaming him for any of the losses or any of the other stuff, I want to look at other teams who may be interested or something that Browns may be interested in. So, if here's the one question that I really thought might be a fit, or two.
I think Baker would fit in Chicago.
Hold on, wait a minute. That's not what I'm asking. Would Detroit say no to a Stafford for Mayfield trade? Which team would say no to that? Because Cleveland's trying to win now with this group, and Detroit would like to move forward at some point with Stafford.
Stafford's what, 34?
He's getting there.
They still
Who says no to that? What about the Falcons for Matt Ryan? If they end up with one of these top 3-5 picks and they want to move on, they might have
They
to
do
move
want to
him.
move on.
Is that a spot? So I'm just, but Baker wouldn't go there. That would be a different type of deal. But I'm saying Baker for Stafford straight up. Would either one of those teams be really against that type
I think
of move?
I know now, and I'm serious. It's going to sound crazy. I think Detroit would be against it
Think so?
because I think they still know that Stafford can play.
Well, he can.
Whereas Baker is, to me, if you look at
Do you
it,
want to draft? My question with Detroit, Hunter, is: do you want to draft a guy in 3 or 4 years, or go ahead and get Baker now? Basically, that's all I'm looking
I
at.
feel sad for Baker because they've had Tim Couch. Achilles, was it Achilles or was he a
He
Cincinnati?
was Cincinnati.
But they've had Tim Couch. And he's the only winning quarterback they've had in years.
Derek Anderson
Just rolling.
was the last
Ride
Pro
with
Bowl.
him.
He's
Ride
last
with
Pro
him.
Bowl.
Derek Anderson was a good quarterback.
Last quarterback
Ride
at the
with
Pro
him.
Bowl.
if I was the Lions, because here's the thing: there are 2 quarterbacks that have emerged now in college that nobody's talking about, and it's Kyle Trask of Florida, and it's the Wilson kid, Zach Wilson out of BYU. The way they're playing this year, they could move their way up into being one of the later quarterbacks picked in the draft.
Would any of these
So
other teams
if
in the
you were-
gray be interested in Baker?
No. And I know
Would
that
any other team in the
Jets-
NFL be interested in
Jets
Baker?
could possibly.
I'm saying
he done?
Chicago.
What about?
Chicago is in a position right
Hey.
now where they don't really have a low enough draft pick where they could think they could get a quarterback over the teams in front of them.
I see
If
him-
they're done with Trubisky and Foles, and Baker can at least show he can win if you have a run game,
And a really good
and
defense.
and a damn good defense that they have in Chicago. I mean, why would you not? You know,
The
I mean,
Jets?
he would come in there and fit the mold really well.
The Jets might take him because they're wanting off of
Darnold,
Darnold.
but no, not for Baker.
Broncos.
They're
would Broncos
drafting.
might not take
They're
him?
drafting Trevor Lawrence.
Broncos
the-
don't have this really great quarterback.
It wouldn't
Jacksonville.
surprise me. I don't think
Does
that
it?
would be the best, but it wouldn't surprise me in Denver. It wouldn't
Could-
surprise me because they take chances on all kinds of quarterbacks. Really,
The only reason why I'm saying Chicago would be a pretty good fit is because the one problem Nagy has had with both Nick Foles and especially Trubisky at times was
tell you what.
accuracy.
I'm agreeing with you. You know why?
Baker's only 60%.
I'm gonna tell you why I agree with you.
He's like one of the worst ones.
Because he fits the same thing that the quarterback for the 85 Bears.
McMahon. He reminds you of Jim McMahon.
Does he not?
A little bit. Yeah.
Throw the bandana on
Yeah.
him, and he comes out there, and you
I
got
see
the
that.
swagger. They got the defense, and you just change up the whole mindset of that team.
But I will say this. I think Browns at least will get 9 wins this season. They'll stay over 500.
I think you
I
onto
think Baker
something.
stays.
I think he stays too.
I think he's there.
I'm just saying in 2 years or next year or the next, you never know when Nick Chubb busted a knee out. If he misses a whole season and Myles Garrett's out,
Miles Garrett's he's missing another game right now. So
all right, so I got
we'll
a couple
see.
more questions before we get out of here for you guys. You get anything else, Zach, on football?
I'm
didn't mean to stay
jumping on
long
that bandwagon.
What, Chicago?
I'm going to be on the train to get him to Chicago.
Why not?
Do you know they would have?
They're
They would
just-
market
they're-
that like crazy.
That team is literally a quarterback away from actually being a really good team because they're wasting a defense.
All right,
We'll put
Zach.
butts in
All right,
seats.
Zach. Did you happen to catch Monday's podcast?
I watched when you guys were talking about the Hornets.
Okay, so you did not see. Damn it, we didn't even get to that today, did we? Shit.
I'm happy. I wore my purple Hornets pants and my Converse.
You're happy about what?
I'm happy about getting Gordon Hayward. I hate the pick. There you go. I hate the pick that we got.
No. We're going to go another 20 minutes if you guys if you can hold on. And because there's two other topics I wanted to get to, but they're only going to take but like a minute or 5 minutes.
Well,
tops
let's do
on
those
each
and
one
then
of those.
end with the Hornets so
Let's
we can
do
knock
that.
those
I
out.
agree.
Zach, Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. Saturday night. Hunter on Monday looked at the camera and called Tyson a geriatric.
I did.
That's what I wanted to tell you. Hunter called Tyson a geriatric.
I did.
Um,
now I'm not going to sit here and say let him swing on me,
Go
but I
on!
did.
Can that
Look,
geriatric knock you out?
Did you see how fast he moved? But anyway, they come out with some of the rules. It's going to be absolutely horrible because when they
It's
come
like a
out with the
sparring
rules, they
match.
said that the referee, if anything gets a little bit physical, he's going to break it up and he can call the fight over with. They just come out with that today. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
So it's not a fight, really.
They said you can get knocked out with one punch. If he can get one in, knock him out. There's not going to be no points. They're going to be declared no winner.
So basically what you're saying, I think, is what I'm getting at, is that they're not going to let anybody pound somebody in a corner or on the ropes or thing like that. Because you can sit there and punch all day, but as far as the actual Tyson gets in trouble and he starts headbutting people now.
Biting,
So maybe Roy don't want none of that. But seriously, though, I understand that part. But you can't. I mean, it's a fight.
We saw Rocky,
So it's not
and
like-
we all know what happened to Apollo.
Like, it's a fight. So
Yeah.
it's not like they're not throwing punches. It's not like
Tyson's going to throw a punch.
That's
He
what I'm
don't
saying.
care what the referee
They're not
says.
going to throw a punch and be like, I hope this don't hurt.
Listen,
you.
I'm just saying, I don't know how you can have so many restrictions on a fight between these two kinds of competitors.
I don't
And
know
ju-
how you
and
get
just think that,
restricted.
and just
Roy
think they're
don't
going
bother
to be
me.
okay.
Tyson, that is my all-time favorite boxer, but he is crazy. And once he gets that
Listen,
beast mode,
that's what I mean, though. is
He
How
killed
can you throw a restriction on a guy that as soon as he
Well,
walks
listen.
in the ring, he's seeing red?
they had restrictions on him when he fought Evander, and he still bit his ear off twice. Evander can't wear a mask now because of it. He messed him up for COVID.
Evander Holyfield. What is that?
He has to stay at his house.
What is it called when you're when you don't have to wear the mask because you already have pre-existing?
He's got a pre-existing condition.
Pre-existing condition that he can't. Why can't you wear a mask, Evander? Mike Tyson bit my ear off, bitch.
What'd you say?
And who's telling Evander to put his mask on?
Nobody.
Hunter might. Hey, geriatric, are you killing me with your mask? Put it on.
Geriatric.
Hunter, you would be the guy to tell that old fucker to put his mask.
Hell no. I'll sit here and say Mike Tyson. But you know what I mean, though? It's like, if this was...
Question, are you watching it?
Maybe. Depends.
If I can find somebody to pay for
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was thinking, because if y'all are, we need to pull the money.
Listen, I'm
That's
just
what
saying...
I'm
We need to
almost,
pull the money.
how do you buy that
I don't
stuff?
know.
I
Was
saw it earlier. It's not on.
Was it...
I saw
Like,
it.
how do you
Pull
buy-
up
Showtime?
on ESPN. It tells you
I'm just
where to
wondering
buy
if we could buy it at the office or not. Just everybody come up here Saturday and
it.
for an
and what time is it going to play?
probably fuck
I'm
12
just-
o'clock, midnight, ain't that
The
when all-
reason
all
why
the
I'm
fights are?
so tough, though, is saying geriatric is... This is 20 years too late. Really?
But he still swings hard.
I know he swings hard, but wouldn't you have much rather have seen this at
I
least in
wouldn't
their
get in the
prime?
ring with him.
Right.
Wouldn't you have much
Everybody would
rather have
love
seen this in your prime?
Right.
That's just how I look at it.
Right.
It's like,
Absolutely.
Oh, in a prime, Tyson destroys
And-
him.
and
'Cause
I
they're-
want to
they're
see
weight-
Tyson fight Floyd Mayweather. That's what I want.
That's like-
I will pay the $50 myself to everybody to come over and watch Tyson hit Floyd Mayweather. I want to see Floyd Mayweather get hit by Mike Tyson because he'd be knocked out so quick. Might lose some teeth, Hunter. He might fly out of the ring. But Zach, I was telling you yesterday, I think Tyson's weakness through the years was probably he wasn't that tall. And so when
Tyson?
yeah,
5'11", I
right,
think.
he's not over 6 foot. And then Lennox Lewis was a monster. Like, you know, at some point there's some things. I don't know how Tyson would have done against George Foreman. He could probably fought with Ali better, but Foreman, he's so
I don't
tall.
understand,
Tyson's
though.
Power. Like, think about his best swing as an uppercut.
I don't understand
you got
what
6
this
more
is,
inches
though.
to swing up to get power. And you're
Is
losing
it
leverage.
just timed? If they're not going to do decision and declare a winner, you just are going to box for
Right.
like
It's 7 2-minute rounds.
or if
That's
someone
it.
gets knocked
That's
out?
it.
Well,
Somebody gets knocked out, you out. But there's not going to be a declared winner. Now, they'll be scoring it, they said, by the WBO is going to be scoring it, but it's not going to.
It's not official.
Yeah.
That's what they mean by it's not. It's going to be scored, but it's not official. So we can score if we want.
yeah, well,
Odds Tyson 220, a draw plus 1200, but the minus is it's going to be a.
who's
My
favored?
question is, how
Tyson.
much stamina does
Figured.
Tyson have? Because he could burn out quick.
Well, that's
And
what
Roy's-
I said. Roy Jones, he could do is
If he could just rope it up him for a while.
It could be a Pacquiao Mayweather fight where Pacquiao's trying to hit Mayweather, but Mayweather just plays defensive the whole time. That is how it could be, because I think we can all sit here and be, if we were in Jones's corner, we would look at him and say, "Don't let him hit you. Don't you let him hit you."
That's the strategy.
That's the strategy. You survive.
yeah.
Survive.
That'd be my strategy.
like
And
I mean,
don't lose my ear.
But it all changes as soon as the first one gets hit.
Yeah. It was on Fight TV, FITE.
What is this? Some sort of
It's
virus?
the same thing as this ACC network crap, because Tar Heels are playing today and it's only on the ACC network.
oh,
Yeah, I know, for basketball. It's so dumb.
yeah. Well,
What was the other thing you had today?
Undertaker retired.
Oh, yeah.
I
I got a story. I
this
got to hear
week.
this story.
Yeah.
You probably don't care. But Kevin cares. It's an Undertaker story. I never heard it. It's fantastic. I heard it this week. He was doing the Stone Cold podcast, and they only did snippets because you don't have WWE Network. You can't watch it yet.
Imagine that.
They did snippets. So he's out in 1989. This is 88, excuse me. It's right before he became Undertaker. He was riding around with the Godfather, one of them. There was 4 of them in a car. They was driving 203 miles to Tennessee. And Stone Cold's asked him this question. He said, "What was you driving in?" He says, "Ford Taurus." He said, "We got there. They said, we're not going to have the match. It was a house show. It was, it wasn't a WWF or anything." He says, "God, we drove all the way here." He said, "Why are we not having a house show?" He said, "There's going to be a whiteout." He said, "If you know anything about the South, they have black ice, they have snow. It's a whiteout." He said, "None of us could drive in this stuff." He said, "So who's going to drive?" He said, "I offered to drive." 6 hours later, he said, we was driving back 200 miles. He said, we were 60 miles out. So you can do the math on how long. He said, we didn't go over 10 miles an hour. He said, "I'm white knuckling it." This is Undertaker talking. He never does off kayfabe, okay?
Driving a Ford Taurus.
He said they had a guy named the Dirty White Boy, and his girlfriend was called Dirty White Girl. She said, "I got to pee." He said, "Well, I'm telling you right now, we're not pulling off the road. I'm stopping in the middle. You can pee in the middle of the road." She does. They all get out of the car, wait on her. She's done. Godfather says, "I'm taking us home." He said, "We almost come to blows." He said, if this comes up today," he said, I'm ready to fight him.
About what?
Right now. Godfather says, "I'm driving the rest of the way home."
Oh,
He said, "No, you're not." He said, "We almost come to blows in the parking lot." He said, he pulled the trump card on me. He said, "Well, it's my car." Gets in. He said, 10 feet later, we're hanging over the side of the road. I drove 6 hours and 10 feet.
yeah.
He put me off the side of the road. He said, we stood there for 3 hours until a state trooper come by, and he says, "What are y'all boys doing out of here?" He says, "I want to say we're freezing our butts off." He said, "But didn't want to get put in jail." He said, "So can you take us to the hotel down the road?" He said, "I tried to sit in the front seat. Officer wouldn't let me sit in the front seat." He said, "We're all 300 pounds, 6'8", 6'9". 4 people in the back of the police officer's car." That was one of the greatest stories I ever heard him tell. But Undertaker, longevity, we talked about the Mount Rushmore. He's definitely on the top 4. He could be listed as one, honestly, in my opinion.
You could have that argument, obviously. All right. Roy Jones, 75 total fights, 66 wins, 47 knockouts, 9 losses. So there's your. He's 5'11". So I think
Same
matchup.
size.
Yeah, he's the same. Him and Tyson about the same size. So I don't see that as being a problem. All right. And then back to the Hornets, Zach, real quick. Who would you have drafted after Wiseman and Edwards were gone?
I didn't dislike the pick that you brought up.
Avdia?
No. Was it the guy that came out of Florida State?
Vassell?
Vassell.
That went to
And I'm
went
gonna
to
say
San
why.
Antonio at 10
He
or
did.
11.
And that's way too far to pick him at 3.
Maybe.
Uh,
Kawhi Leonard was picked 16.
but he's a
wasn't he?
40% three-point shooter.
Right.
and like you said, he played defense.
Well, Zach, I'm gonna give you a 6'7" guy who can't shoot or play defense, or I'm gonna give you a 6'7" guy who can shoot and can play defense. What argument do you have? You're gonna pick the one guy that doesn't? And their argument right now is here's their argument: he's a good passer and he has 5.1 million Instagram followers.
I just don't want I don't want the baggage of his dad to come, and he's just not developed yet. He ain't played against NBA talent. Yeah, I will say
none
this.
of them are, yeah, but
I will say this. On CBS, they give the Hornets an A+ on their whole draft.
I've got a
Vernon Carey was pretty good.
I thought so too, and they didn't rate him high, and I thought he's a good pick.
I've got a quote or a copy from an article when Michael Kidd-Gilchrist was picked, Zach, and they got an A for that.
Oh, no.
So that's all you need to know about those draft grades. Especially, how do you grade a draft? Like, honestly, like
you
I
can't
don't know.
really
I
until
don't like
later.
the pick,
Listen,
but in 5 years, you really don't know.
If you're gonna grade a draft, more than likely the only way I would do it is, did you feel a
Fuck up.
need? Did you really feel a need?
And I will say this, and this is where I'm gonna go with the Hornets right now. I am more excited this year than I've been in a long time because we did get Gordon Hayward, and it is late. I think you said 5 years late,
Probably.
and again, not our fault.
Yeah.
Not our fault. We tried. Who's coming here? Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So we overpaid. I'm okay with that. We were paying $30 million for Biombo, and whoever else sitting on the bench was paying Batum to set his butt on the bench for $25
That's
million.
about it. You've got $40 million in players that don't even play, and you're arguing about what paying
And people
Hayward an
saying
extra
it's a
$5 a
horrible
year.
pick.
Yeah.
No, it's not. You know
And I
why it's
think-
not? Because we got a free agent to come to Charlotte, and that might open it up.
And listen,
What do you think?
is
about,
he not already, before even stepping the court, your first scoring
He's
option?
our best player.
There you go.
And if he stays healthy, he's since he got hurt, you look at it. He's almost back up to where he was before he broke that ankle the way he did. And there's another thing that ain't come out. And I'm telling you this. They're shopping Rozier.
Yeah.
They're shopping
Well, they have
Rozier.
to. You got 3 point guards. And
And
one of them, and he's
I'm
the one
still-
making $19 million. The other
I'm
two are.
banging my head against the wall saying, go to friggin' New York and get
Randall?
Randall. He's 20-10.
Yeah.
Why not?
Good.
I'm serious. That if they went and did that, it would make LaMelo a whole lot better this coming year because they would
And maybe New York don't want that.
They
But
would run a great
geez,
pick and roll. They'd run a great
New
pick and
York
roll.
just signed Austin Rivers. Who gives a crap? He's horrible.
I thought he was going to sign Philly.
Go with his dad.
Right. That's where I thought he was going.
So
Seth
I'm,
went to his father-in-law.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think we have I think we can make the 8th seed.
No, I seriously.
Is that
I think
a far stretch? We were 10 last year.
You're going to be in conversation for an 8 seed between Atlanta. Because have you seen what Atlanta has added? Good Lord,
I saw what
they've
both y'all
gotten
said. You said yesterday. You said I'm tired of being the 10 seed and getting the 10th pick. Who gives
Right,
a crap?
the 10th
Put me in the
pick.
playoffs. And,
The
and what
10th
you
pick.
said about Atlanta, 100% right. Atlanta improved immensely. They're going to be a very tough team.
I want a top 5 pick or I want in the playoffs.
I agree.
I don't want nothing to do with 6 through 13.
Don't you want to go down to the Hornet Stadium and be in the playoffs and be excited about a game?
Right. Now, and now here's the thing about them making playoffs. If they make it, the East sucks so bad, they've got a chance to make it. I agree.
We got a.
I think you
but
could get
you got
to
a
the
puncher's
West,
chance. We got
if
a
they were in the
shooter's
West,
chance.
No.
No
Oh,
chance.
right. Yeah,
Because you got to
West
have a winning record to get in the West. In
This
the
is
East,
the-
you can squeak in that 8.
I mean,
without it.
think about it.
6 games under 500.
But y'all are going to be better.
Oh, you're a Hawks fan.
Washington.
Washington.
Oh, okay.
We picked Avdija.
And Wall's back.
Yeah, I was
That
gonna
was
say.
just y'all made it last year with Bradley Beal by himself.
Yeah, we're not. Well, we didn't make the playoffs. We slid our way out. We made the
Right, we made the groove.
We made the ballroom games
And then lost every fucking game in the ballroom.
because Bradley
go.
Beal did not go.
Right.
But John Wall is back, and from what I'm reading, I don't think they're going to trade him.
I like, even with the Hornets, you talk about Ball.
I told
Okay,
him-
so he does go to the he goes to the hoop.
I
and
told
he
him
kicks it out.
I'd
We got
send-
Gordon Hayward right there going to sink a 3-pointer.
I told him
So is Devontae.
I'd send Ball to Washington for John Wall.
You
right
think they
now.
would do that
No.
Who? Washington?
Hell no.
if you send them some picks? Hey, I'd send Ball and 2 first-round picks.
Well,
for it.
listen, the only reason why that
Would you?
works, the only reason why
I
that
give him 50 picks. I want
listen,
somebody who scores
the
25
only
a game.
reason why that works is because we would lose John Wall scoring,
we couldn't afford him though with
but
matchup
but
salary.
it, well, it
You
doesn't-
could send
it's a-
Rozier, though.
we got
Yeah,
a rookie.
you gotta
you could send
Rozier.
Rozier,
But I'm just
Ball,
saying-
and a pick.
I'm just saying, for if we got LaMelo in Washington, the only reason it would work is because we got Bradley Beal, that's a shooter. We just drafted Avdija, that's a shooter. Like we got
He
shooters
fits
everywhere.
y'all's roster better than he does ours.
I would do it right now. I would send you Rozier, I would send you Ball, and I'd send you a first-round draft pick, and I bet they'd bite on that.
I send them as many first-round draft picks as they want.
You know,
right,
because
Zach.
that would give us John Wall, and that would give us Gordon Hayward, and
All
I
right,
would be
Zach.
happy with that.
All right, Zach, make the call.
I would.
See if they'll do it. Make the call.
I actually won't. I'd rather have Bradley Beal
You need to see if
because
it'll work
I like
on the
our
draft.
I like our point guard that we drafted in the second round, and I think
I do
I think it's a
too.
terrible decision.
He was a first-round
Think about this.
guy.
This is basically what the Hornets are doing. They basically drafted Kawhi Leonard or whoever in the second round.
Devontae.
They basically drafted Manu Ginobili here, and then the next year, well, let's draft his replacement. He averaged 19 and 8. Is LaMelo getting 19 and 8 this year?
That boy they picked was a first-round.
So again,
guy.
if Graham is averaging at point guard 19 and 8, why would you pick LaMelo who can't average 19 or won't average 19 and 8? Maybe in a few years, but right now, no. I think when you hit a lottery, they basically hit the lottery with
They
Graham,
did.
right?
They
In
got
the
lucky.
second round.
They got
You
lucky.
you did what everybody wants to do. Pray to God a guy comes up through your system and
Right.
he just is.
I can't
And
believe
it
he
worked,
failed.
out, it worked out perfect. And he's at 1. And then now you need a shooting guard, a small forward, a power
got
forward,
your-
and a center.
you got your
a
small forward.
We got a small forward.
But
we
we
got a
could've-
shooting guard.
But we could
Graham. You
He's,
have to put
he's my
Graham at-
point guard. I'm saying
You're
he
gonna
would be
leave
my
him a
point
point.
guard. Right. If I'm running the Hornets, I would have had Graham at point guard, trade Terry for whatever I can get. You got Hayward at small forward. I see no fit for LaMelo with that unless you're going to play small ball and put Graham there. But I think you're killing Graham. I think you're just destroying his career when you just – I know you didn't waste a draft pick on it, but damn, Zach, would you bet more that the kid that went to San Antonio will have a better career than the kid that went to Charlotte?
Because Popovich.
Just straight up, just saying those words right there without telling you who. Without telling you who.
Borrego coached
Oh,
underneath
God.
Popovich, so
Hey, he's not
Hunter's
Pop. I like, you know, it just, I was thinking about, too, Cleveland, the guy Cleveland picked, was it last year or the year before, that came out of,
Vanderbilt or Houston or
who's
the
the
guy
number one
that
pick
was,
that they picked.
Anthony Bennett that sucked. Is that
No,
what you're
no,
talking
no,
about?
that was horrible.
You're talking
But that
about
was
the
one
pick-
that came after LeBron left.
Kyrie
Andrew Wiggins,
Wiggins.
Nope.
He's in Minnesota.
Kyrie.
I don't know.
Those are the number one picks that they've had.
No, it's another guy. It's another guy they picked right after that. He played. I want to say he played for Georgia, maybe.
Colin Sexton.
And he's supposed to be really. It is.
He played at
wasn't one.
Alabama.
He wasn't one overall.
Was it? It was high though.
Yeah.
Top
Yeah,
three.
it was a top 3
and
to 5 pick.
he still just he hadn't panned out yet. And it's been
No.
a long time, and that's what worries me about Ball.
They drafted guards back-to-back years.
If Ball works out, you have to get rid of Graham at some point. If Graham was going to work out, you didn't need Ball. I just don't see why in the world that any of that works out whatsoever. And I think it's just poor management. Whether Ball has a decent career or not. All right. Any other final thoughts, guys? I know we got Thanksgiving tomorrow. Hunter, you got a turkey of the year? You got a sports turkey of the year? Anybody you want? I'm going to name the North Carolina Athletic Association as my turkey of the year.
Okay. Sports turkey of the year is the Washington football team. There you go. There you go.
Why
The
can you still
Maryland
not make it?
football
Why they still ain't got a mascot?
Do you not see what they announced this week?
They're going to be the
not.
football
They're
team
gonna
next
keep it.
year.
Seriously?
Going forward, they're leaning to keeping what they're doing now forever.
And if that's the case,
That's horrible.
look at me.
That's absolutely horrible.
Who's the fan here? Okay. And
Well, there's
guess
plenty
who,
of room
and
on the
listen,
Panthers.
and listen, and guess who's not going to be a fan within like
That's
the next
horrible.
year?
I mean, that is absolutely horrible. Surely they can't do that.
No, that's what they're talking about is that that they're going to keep it and go forward with that. With that question, final question of the day for Zach. If NFL does realignment, should they go ahead and split up the Cowboys out of the East and go to a more regional thing because there is no rivalry? You can't have Cowboys and there's no Redskins. There's no
That's horrible.
Cowboys
No,
and
but
Indians, right? I mean that's the matchup. That are they the rival anymore?
That's horrible.
Dallas dominated them for years. Are they a rival? So I don't know. That's just
I just love the
Isn't that
NFC.
weird?
I'm
What if
a
I told
Panthers
you
fan.
5 year, 10 year, or when we were growing up, and you know what, Zach, in 15, 20 years, they ain't gonna be the Redskins. They ain't gonna be rivals anymore. Well,
I mean,
what?
the NFC East has always just been so right. Philadelphia Giants, all of them. It's just great.
All right, happy Thanksgiving turkey days for everybody out there. Hunter, what's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
I think sweet potato casserole now. I love sweet potatoes now. Marshmallows on top.
I'm big on a good potato salad. I'm big on. I'll eat 50 deviled eggs if that's all they would put
I like
out there.
homemade mac and cheese too, even though I'm lactose intolerant.
It's
we
not
just
bad.
we just risk it.
I'm a grandma's meatloaf.
I'll eat meatloaf. I'll abuse. The thing that I'll abuse will be the deviled eggs.
There you go.
I'll eat bits of everything.
He'll abuse pigs in a blanket too. Don't let him fool you.
If somebody makes them, that's
We
what you
make
gotta
them
get.
out here at
You
the
gotta
house
find
every
people
year.
to make them.
That's what Judah eats. He reminds me of you.
My wife burns every bread ever made, and they put her in charge of the bread this year.
Oh man.
My
Somebody's
son reminds
fired.
me of Kevin because
Somebody's fired.
he always was real picky. My son's super picky.
All right, guys. See you next time on KTC Broadcasting Shock Jocks.